Chapter 3842. Third more. Is that so? Jian Wushuang stunned. He has always wondered why this mister has been staying in the Red Cloud realm for a long time. It turned out to be this reason. Little guy, there is one more thing before you leave. Master Wu suddenly said. Jian Wushuang and cold as frost could not help looking at this mister. The Lord was strong before his life, and he opened up a great kingdom of God, occupying an extremely vast territory, and his majesty has countless people. If there is a huge kingdom of God, there will be some venomous minds, evil generations, and the Master God kingdom. There have been a lot of evil people of all kinds. For their own benefit, they have used whatever means to make waves in God. Once these wicked people are found, many of them are beheaded and killed directly, but there are also a lot of them that are detained. The places where these wicked people are held are called eternal dark prisons. The eternal dark prison has existed for many years. Not long after the Master opened up the kingdom of God, the eternal dark prison has always existed. When the kingdom of God is still there, people will often be detained in the eternal dark prison. There are incredible performances that can attract the attention of Hongyan's leaders. Otherwise, these prisoners are destined to be detained in their entire lives. Over the years, the number of prisoners held in the eternal dark prison has long been unknown. Jian Wushuang listened very puzzled. He didn't understand. Master Wu suddenly told him what to do. The eternal dark prison is divided into 6 layers. The prisoners are detained at different levels according to the strength of the highlands. Everything was originally organized step by step. After the war, the Master fell, the Red Cloud fell, and the kingdom of God directly collapsed. Although this eternal dark prison was not directly destroyed, it also hurt the foundation and great power in the original battle. The most important thing is that the eternal dark prison's law formation also has a flaw. Of course, this flaw exists only on the first floor and is extremely hidden. Under normal circumstances, those prisoners who are held on the first floor of the eternal dark prison cannot find this flaw, and they cannot pass through it. The silk flaw escaped from the eternal hell. However, just 500 years ago, I sensed through the Red Cloud realm that someone used the flaw in the eternal dark prison to make a gap in the first floor of the eternal dark prison. Although the eternal dark prison matrix, soon this gap was repaired. But during this time, prisoners escaped from the eternal dark prison. What? Jian Wushuang was startled. Someone escaped. 500 years ago. He just didn't understand why Lord Wu suddenly said this to him. But now he understands it. All the prisoners held in the eternal dark prison have committed heinous sins. They dare not say that every nature is evil. At least they are not good people. They can be held in the eternal dark prison by Hongyan. Their strength must also be very strong. Such a prisoner ran out? How many did you run out? Jian Wushuanglian asked. There is a great correlation between the Red Cloud realm and the eternal dark prison. I now control the Red Cloud realm, but I barely sensed that there were only one prisoner who ran out of the eternal dark prison 500 years ago. Mist is humane. Just one. That's better. Jian Wushuang relaxed. If dozens or hundreds of prisoners ran out of the eternal dark prison in one breath, then this star field would suffer. Although only one prisoner ran out, don't be underestimated, Master Wu said positively. The meaning of the existence of the eternal dark prison is not just to detain the prisoners, but to choose some of the top prisoners as much as possible. He then worked for Hongyan, so he could be detained in the eternal dark prison, the weakest being the Master, and the strongest, but even the Supreme. What? In the eternal dark prison the Supreme is being held? Jian Wushuang was stunned. Yes, the 6th floor of eternal dark prison is holding the Supreme, and there is more than one. Master Wu smiled. Of course, although eternal dark prison hurt the foundation in the original battle, the power is still there. Unless the Supreme gets a great breakthrough in strength, he can reach the level before the Lord's life, and may come out of the eternal dark prison. But the eternal dark prison environment is very harsh. In these harsh environments, I want to reach close that step of the Master's peak strength is almost impossible. And this time out of the eternal dark prison, the prisoners held on the first floor. Among the 6 floors of the eternal dark prison, The prisoners on the first floor are the weakest, and the first prisoners are generally the first level, or the master of the second level. But the eternal dark prison has not been joined by new prisoners for many years, and the killing inside is crazy and fierce. In such a long time of killing, it can still survive, and the strength is bound to be. I estimate that the prisoner who escaped this time is at least a master, who reached the top of the second level, and may even have broken through to the third level. Would to humanity, at the very least they are at the top of the second series. Is it even possible to reach the third series? Since he realized a bit of the law of the universe, his strength has skyrocketed. Generally, the second series is dominated by him. He doesn't need to take his mind at all, but the top of the second series, or even the third series, dominates him. But there is no pressure. Fu Jun, you don't have to worry too much. After all, the prisoners held in the eternal dark prison are not all lunatics. Maybe the prisoners who came out this time belong to the kind of indiscriminate killing? Not to mention this star field is at the extreme edge of the universe. Generally, the master who reaches the second level will choose to leave here and enter the rest of the universe. If the prisoner is so powerful, he will definitely not be in this star field. I stayed too long, said Lung Rushuang well too. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. I'll tell you this just to remind you. In addition, Jian Wushuang, haven't you always wanted to improve your strength? But is it already difficult to meet decent opponents in this star field? Now you will. There are opponents. Master Wu smiled. Opposite. Just the prisoner? Jian Wushuang squinted. Of course not only one of him, but countless prisoners in the eternal dark prison. Wu big humanity. Jian Wushuang stunned, but then looked at Master Wu in shock. Master Fog, are you telling me to go to the eternal dark prison? Why are you afraid? Master Wu looked at Jian Wushuang with interest. Dear, click in and give a good comment. Chapter 3843. Fourth more. Jian Wushuang was not afraid, he was just scared. Just knowing the origin of this eternal dark prison from the foggy population, Jian Wushuang knew what kind of place this eternal dark prison is. Imagine that innumerable prisoners were detained inside, and they have not seen the sun all day long, and so many years have passed. Even if the prisoners there are not lunatics themselves, they are estimated to have become lunatics, and those prisoners are still powerful, even if the weakest layer is the strongest at the top of the second series. Taking one out casually is enough to make him treat seriously. However, what Master Wu said is also very reasonable. He does not find an opponent in this star field, but he cannot leave the star field for the time being. So if he wants to continue to improve his strength and continue to challenge the new strong, then Eternal Dark Prison is indeed a good choice. Eternal Dark Prison, although they are detaining some lunatics who have committed heinous crimes, and now they are estimated to be almost crazy, but there is no doubt that these lunatics are all strong. Jian Wu's eyes flashed with a hint of fierceness, faint with a touch of excitement. Yes, he was excited. He was eager to fight with the strong, and in the eternal dark prison, he could fully meet his requirements. My dear, I'm not mistaken. You are warlike by nature and have a strong heart. Even if you know that the eternal dark prison is extremely dangerous, you still want to go inside. Master Wu smiled. Jian Wushuang also smiled. Fu Jun, the frosty cold frost next to her, frowned. She also understood what the eternal dark prison is. Naturally, she did not want Jian Wushuang to go there and take risks. Haha, sir, you don't need to worry. Anyone in this star field, including you going to the eternal dark prison, even if it is only the first floor, it is estimated that all are dead. But for this little guy, it is not. There is a danger of death. Master Wu laughed. Why? Jian Wushuang understood. Master Wu explained immediately. Eternal Dark Prison was originally created by Hongyun Imai. Hongyun Imai has absolute power in the Eternal Dark Prison. As long as it is a strong man or a disciple under Hongyun Imai, enter the Eternal Dark Prison. Afterwards, they will be sheltered by the Eternal Dark Prison Circle. Little guy, didn't I give you a token of a disciple from the heart of Hongyun before? With this token, you can mobilize a part of the power of the magic circle in the Eternal Whisper, let alone the first level, or at most only the second level. Counting the top or third-level masters, you can easily suppress even the ultimate masters held in the 5th layer. Is there such a thing? Jian Wushuang worried, and the cold frost beside him also showed surprise. Lung Rushuang was still worried that Jian Wushuang would endanger his life after entering the eternal dark prison, but I did not expect that Jian Wushuang, a red-clouded inner disciple, would have such privileges in the eternal dark prison. The power of the array. By virtue of this heavy means, he can walk sideways in the eternal dark prison. Of course, the reason you go to eternal dark prison is mainly to experience and improve your strength. If it is not a crisis of life and death, then the power of the magic circle, you better not to easily move. Of course, if I casually meet a prisoner, I will use the powerful power of the falcon to suppress who, then there is no other training effect. Jian Wushuang smiled. Only at the last moment, I will use this trick. In addition, I can use this not only to save my life, but also to find ways to bring some other gains. Jian Wushuang squinted his eyes slightly. He had some other thoughts in his heart. For example, go to the eternal dark prison to subdue a few prisoners as servants. The weakest of the prisoners in the eternal dark prison are the combat power of the 2nd level to dominate the hierarchy. In terms of high-level combat power, it is definitely a huge increase. Of course, it is not so easy to want those prisoners to submit to him. Okay, that's all I have to say. You can leave. Master Wu waved his hand. The junior is leaving. The disciples are leaving. Jian Wushuang salutes with Lung Rushuang together. Even if Xian leaves the Red Cloud Realm together. Redstone Mountain, Jian Wushuang and Frost side by side. Is this the battlefield of the universe? It feels really unusual, and it feels extremely dangerous in many places. I couldn't help sighing along the way. The Red Cloud Realm she was in was actually in the universe battlefield, but after all, it was an independent space, and it was completely different from actually walking in the universe battlefield. Shuanger, after we left Hongshishan, we went back to Xingong first, and then we went home together. Jian Wushuangdo. Lung Rushuang smiled and nodded. Suddenly, Jian Wushuang looked suddenly. What's wrong? Lung Rushuang looked over in confusion. Shuanger, come with me first. Jian Wushuang changed direction and swept away to the void. Cold as frost, although in doubt, immediately followed. On a bloodstone, a man in black with a faint gloom around him was sitting quietly, closed his eyes, not knowing what he was doing. And Sword Wushuang and Cold as Frost have already appeared in the void around this man in black. The latter has no gap. On the strength, Sword Wushuang and Cold as Frost are extremely strong. Jian Wushuang learned from the magic flame of the method of hiding breath. The general master cannot sense the breath, and the cold secret hiding technique is from the supreme of the mist. The hand is even better. The man in black, who is the ruler of the peak of the 6 realms, certainly cannot find his existence. Fu Jun, do you know this person? Lung Rushuang asked. Of course I know. Once upon a time, he took the Lord of many rules of the 3 sacred realms, but he almost forced me into despair. Jian Wushuang smiled. You man in black on the bloodstone below, of course he knows. The Lord of the Galaxy, the Lord of the rules from the 3 holy realms. At the beginning of Palau Island, he was under the siege of the 3 holy realms and besieged. When the Lord of the 3 holy realms never appeared, the strongest of the 3 holy realms was the galaxy of stars. The Lord at that time was already the combat power of the 6 realms of void, and even the main white star of the Temple of Time and Space was reluctantly suppressed by it. But now, the 3 sacred realms have long been destroyed by him, and the Lord of the 3 sacred realms has also been beheaded by him. But the Lord of Xinghe is still alive. It seems that the annihilation of the 3 sacred realms was not thorough enough, and there are still many missing fish that escaped. Chapter 3844. Fifth More. The Lord of the Galaxy has been miserable these years. It is normal that all 3 sacred realms have been destroyed, although he left the early divine realm in advance and fled to the universe battlefield. He has since become a bereavement dog. Now, Jian Wushuang is too angry in this star domain name, and his power has been continuously improved. Even the strength of the Star Palace has been improved a lot. The Star Palace has never forgotten to chase them through these 3 holy realms. Fish, which led him to the peak of the battlefield of the 6 realms, but almost no party in this area would accept him. After all, no one wants to provoke Jian Wushuang and provoke the current Star Palace. There is no way. The Lord of the Galaxy can only continue to roam in the universe battlefield, to improve his strength as much as possible, and still have to be careful about the feasible things. Once the whereabouts are exposed and known to the people in the Shinggong Palace, the Shinggong Palace is likely to send strong troops directly. Come to kill him. Call. Exhaling lightly, the main star of Xinghe opened his eyes. Although this red rock mountain contains a lot of opportunities, and you want to get it, it requires a lot of luck and strength. I have spent many years in the depths of this red rock mountain, and I have barely got some benefits, which has made me better. It is far from the extreme of the 6 realms, but it is still far away, let alone the master. The Lord of the Galaxy shook his head secretly. Red Rock Mountain is indeed a treasure land, which contains many great opportunities, but these great opportunities are not available to everyone. At least the Lord of the Galaxy has no luck. Zijin and Longyang, both of them intend to leave this star field and go to other places to break out. It seems that I also consider leaving. The Lord of the Galaxy murmured. The ruler will travel to other star fields. There are few examples of this. After all, the universe is too long and extremely dangerous. The ruler wanders in the universe and is easily lost and easily falls. But the Lord of the Stars has no way, because it is very difficult for them to stay in this star field. Even if I barely stay here, I've always been nervous. Before they learned that Jian Wushuang entered the darkened demon realm, they were very happy and felt that Jian Wushuang would die in it, so they didn't have to leave. But in the end, Jian Wushuang survived the dim magic domain. Even the dim demonic domain failed to make Jian Wushuang fall. The Lord of the Stars understood that the sword was unsustainable. Therefore, those fish in the 3 holy realms, including the Lord of the Stars, were preparing to leave the star domain. Suddenly, the 2 statues showed no signs and appeared directly in front of the Lord of the Galaxy. The Lord of the Xinghe looked up subconsciously. When he saw the sword unparalleled with the Excalibur among the 2 figures, the expression of the Lord of the Xinghe suddenly turned white. Xinghe Lord, I haven't seen you for many years, don't come to me. Jian Wushuang's voice was cold, with a touch of teasing. The Lord of the Blood Sword? No, the sword. The Lord of the Galaxy is full of horrified Jian Wushuang. How could it be? How did you know I was here? How did you find me? Of course I don't know you're here, but you're out of luck. I've been wandering in the Red Rock Mountain these years, and just passing by nearby, I noticed your soul breath. Jian Wushuang smiled. Luck, bad luck. The Lord of the Stars widened his eyes, and the whole man collapsed. His eyes stared, his face despairing. He knew that since Jian Wushuang had already appeared in front of him, no matter what means he used, he could not escape. Xinghe Lord on Paua Island, you led the Lord of the 3 sacred realms and ruled me together. I can always remember this feud, but nowadays I don't bother to bully you. So my side is my wife. She just broke the rule of the ruler shortly after, and I let her go. If you can survive in her hands, I will let you go. Jian Wushuangdo. Hearing this, the already desperate Lord of the Galaxy, he suddenly looked up, and burst of light in those eyes. Jian Tianho, do you speak seriously? As the Lord of Stars said this, he couldn't help but look at the cold frost next to him. But the frosty coldness completely converged, and he could not see the truth. But from his vision, it could be seen that the coldness of frost should be soon after entering the world. I speak naturally. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly, looking at the cold frost beside him. Frost, it's up to you. The reason why Lung Rushuang made his shot was because Master Wu had explained in the Red Cloud Realm before, and there was a chance to let Lung Rushuang practice more in the future. After all, the road to the strong is destined to be bloody. Cold as frost, absorbed the heart of the astral world, has the capital and potential to become a strong, but it also needs to be tempered. But Jian Wushuang took into account that Lung Rushuang had just grasped his strength shortly, and his soul has been sleeping for nearly 200,000 years. It can be said that there is no experience of fighting with the strong. It is impossible for Jian Wushuang to challenge her too strong opponent at the beginning. The master of Xinghe, with only the peak of 6 realms, can just be the first experienced opponent for Leng Rushuang. Leng Rushuang also knew the intention of Jian Wushuang, and he did not refuse, but went straight forward, and the dark green whip appeared in his hand. I only give a whip. If you don't die after a whip, you can leave. Frost's face was cold. Her temperament was cold like a glacier. In the whole world, only Jian Wushuang can fuse it, and when facing other people, it is almost as cold as frost. A whip. The Lord of the Galaxy laughed, and there was a surprise hidden under that laughter. In front of his eyes, this woman was too arrogant. It should be noted that although he only has the highest combat power of the 6 realms, his life-saving ability is pretty good. Among the rule masters are the existence of several anti-skies, such as Jian Wushuang and Blood Tuti, the master of other rules, even some extremely terrible 6-realm extremes. It is impossible to kill him with one stroke. Cold and frosty, but a little lazy, the dark green whip in her hand was already waving. A special mood came out. Suddenly, the Lord of the Galaxy only felt that he had fallen into the ocean, and the surrounding area was a tsunami formed by a huge wave of madness rolling up, and the momentum was shocking, one after another. How can it be? The master of the galaxy changed greatly. The tsunami came, and he exerted his desire to resist. But in the end, the first shock caused him to be traumatized, the second shock caused his body to be broken, and the third shock, his body was completely collapsed, and all his power was annihilated. Do not. Jian Tianhou, you lie to me. She will never break the rule of the ruler, not long. It's impossible. After the hysterical death, the Lord of the Galaxy died directly. Emperor Zhoutian. Chapter 38-45. Sixth more. Hearing the last roar of the Lord of the Stars, Jian Wushuang shook his head lightly. I didn't lie to him. It is really only 800 years that Shuang has been the ruler of the rule, but there has been a supreme teaching her for 800 years. That's it. After slashing the Lord of the Star River with one whip, coldly taking away the ring of the Lord of the Stars, he returned to Jian Wushuang and said, If you want me to practice next time, find me a stronger opponent. Jian Wushuang smiled dumbly but asked, Frost, how heavy is the wave you just formed? He had previously experienced the blast of power that was too cold and frosty, and the impact of the tsunami was violent, one after another, indeed very tyrannical. The new Lord of the Galaxy, who had only suffered the triple tsunami, died directly. If this whip is displayed by Master, the tsunami will never stop. Unless it is broken by force, the tsunami will continue to impact. But I just barely master this trick. Even if I exert it with all my strength, at most I can only carry a 9-fold shock. Cold as frost. 9 heavy shocks are also good. Jian Wushuang nodded secretly. Triple shocks easily killed the Lord of the Galaxy, the peak of the 6 realms. 9 shocks can completely rival the General Master. It is only incidental to slay the Lord of the Star River, and practitioners at levels, such as the Lord of the Star River, as well as those fish in the 3 sacred realms, are now unable to enter the sword's peerless eyes. After that, Jian Wushuang marched along with Leng Rushuang, leaving Hongshe Mountain, and returning to the Star Palace. Here is the Star Palace. Cold as frost and sword unparalleled, marching side by side. Their eyes are constantly looking around. In the Star Palace, there are many practitioners. The two of them have traveled along the way, and also encountered many people. The Lord of the Blood Sword. Meet the Lord of the Blood Sword. The masters of the rules in the Star Palace all saluted to Jian Wushuang, one by one in awe. After all, everyone knows that Jian Wushuang already has the top master's combat power, and can still come out alive from the darkened realm. The strength is definitely one of the strongest in this star domain. There is such a super. The strong are here, and the Star Palace has benefited a lot. Of course, these Star Palace strong are in awe. With sword like frost, Jian Wushuang went directly to the Xian Shinto people. In the Great Hall, Jian Wushuang met with the lords of the Xian Shinto, the Lord of Time and Space, the Lord of the Cut Heaven Alliance, and the Heavenly Ancestor. Heavenly friend, this one next to you is your wife, right? Qian Shinto asked. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. You are polite. Leng Rushuang also greeted him, but he was obviously much colder than Jian Shuang. Haha, Tianho Xiaoyu, congratulations to you. The master of space and time laughed. He is very clear. Jian Wushuang has been trying to find ways to awaken him to breathe the soul and restore his wife's body, and now clearly achieved the goal. Jian Wushuang only smiled slightly, and then straightened out. Dear everyone, when I came back this time, I found that the number of rulers in my horoscope was significantly more than before, and the alert seemed to be much stricter than before. That's it. Mysterious Shinto nodded. First of all, because of your friend, my star house's status in this star field has been significantly improved. In recent years, the number of rulers who have come to take the initiative to rely on my star house is in number. Quite a few. Most of my stars have not refused, and the number of masters of the rules of nature has increased. Now there are thousands of masters of the rules of my star palace. Master of thousands of rules? Jian Wushuang looked. Although the number of rulers of this star field rule is very large, it is extremely scattered, mainly because there are too many strong players alone, and the number of various forces is also quite large. There can be thousands of ruler forces in this star. In the domain, it is already pretty good. Of course, the increase in the number of rulers is only one of the reasons. The most important thing is that there have been some changes in this star field in recent years. It is not too peaceful. For insurance purposes, I will be in the 3 battlefields of my star palace. Many rulers have been called back. Mysterious God said again. A change has taken place? Jian Wushuang's body moved. His heart already had some speculation. That's it. The mysterious Shinto recounted. Just 500 years ago, a strong man suddenly appeared in this star field. He claimed to be the ancient night demon. I went to collect this ancient night devil. The data of the king did not find any matching information of the strong man, so we guessed that the ancient night devil should come from other star domains. Jian Wushuang looked at each other coldly, but they both remained calm. The two of them knew very well that since the sudden emergence of the ancient night devil appeared 500 years ago, those 8 achievements were the prisoner who ran out of the eternal dark prison. The ancient night devil is very powerful, very strong, and extremely domineering. After he appeared, he swept directly into this star field. The first place he went to was Beihai Palace. After that, he was in a strong man's posture directly. He ordered Beihai Palace to submit to him, and Beihai Palace naturally did not agree. Qian Shinto humane. Beihai Palace, there is Tianping dominate the town. In this star field is definitely ranked among the top 3 forces. Jian Wushuang nodded secretly. What happened? As a result, Beihai Palace was directly erased from this star field by his own strength. Even Tianpeng was dominated by this ancient night demon king, and it was killed by one stroke. Humane. Oh. Jian Wushuang frowned. The ancient night devil can destroy Beihai Palace. He was not surprised, but he killed Tianpeng as soon as he did it. He has also dealt with Tianpeng dominant. Although the latter is not yet the second-level dominator, it is definitely the top one among the first-level dominators, and it has the strongest armor of the treasure armor, and its own body. The ability should not be weak, but he will be killed by one stroke? The combat power of the ancient night demon king is likely to reach the 3rd-level Jian Wushuang secret road. The Beihai Palace collapsed, and Tianpeng was beheaded and killed. The news smashed the entire star field, and then the ancient night demon continued to sweep and destroyed all the way. And now the major forces in this star field have chosen to submit to him. Chapter 3846. The first is more. Ancient Night Magic Palace? Jian Wushuang nodded secretly. In addition, just 100 years ago, the Yu who was hailed as the strongest in this star domain dominated with the ancient night demon king. Qian Shindao said again. Yu dominates? Jian Wushuang looked. Ji's dominance can pass the test at the foot of Mount Tianfeng. Its combat power is extremely strong among the second-level primary masters. Before he did not shoot, GES was indeed qualified to be called the strongest in this star field. What happened? Jian Wushuang asked. Yu-Yes Dominator was defeated, and it is still a fiasco. The ancient Night Demon Lord also only used one move to directly consume most of the power of the wreckage of Yu-Yes dominance. The frightened GES Dominator immediately ran away with his life-saving whole card, and then recovered his life. Xian Shinto humane. This Yu Master is a lot luckier than Peng Master that day. At least he escaped, but Tian Peng Master, but was killed by a stroke. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. Fortunately, this ancient night magic king, it doesn't mean we are troublesome, let us not provoke him. Well, we all think so. Now the ancient night magic palace is powerful. All the big forces in this star domain are all subject to it. But we, the small and powerful forces, the ancient night magic palace did not bother. As long as we do go proactively provoke them, they should not come against us. Xian Shinto laughed. For the time being, I will return from the Red Cloud realm and bring some special treasures. Jian Wushuang said suddenly. The eyes of the four gods, the Lord of time and space, the Lord of heaven and earth, and the heavenly ancestor are all bright. Last time, the return of Jian Wushuang from the Red Cloud realm brought them a huge surprise. There were 100 strongest treasures, plus 100,000 peak treasures. This surprise, they gradually digested after a long time. And now Jian Wushuang brought out a good treasure from the Red Cloud realm? Please see. Sword Wushuang slaps, and a mini three-colored tower appears in his hands. The three-colored tower exudes an incomparably strange atmosphere, attracting the eyes of the four masters. What is this? Is it the strongest? It's a unique breath. It seems to be more transcendent than the average treasure. My dear friend, what exactly is this tower? The four masters all looked at Xiang Jinshuang. For people, this tower is called the Triple Road Realm. It is a rule of treasure. Jian Wushuangdo. The rule is precious? Xian Shinto glared sharply. Legend above the strongest treasure in the legend? The rule is precious. I have heard that it is said that it has its own rules of the universe. The power is far stronger than the ordinary strongest treasure, which is dozens of times and hundreds of times stronger. The town monument that Xuani originally obtained seems to be one. The rule is precious. The Lord of Space and Time was excited. They did not expect that Jian Wushuang brought out a rule from the Red Cloud realm this time. For people, this three-colored tower is indeed a rule of law, but its real purpose is very unique. It has 3 different worlds, each of which has a great use for practitioners. Jian Wushuangdang will soon be on the Triple Road. The use of the world is described in more detail. After listening to Jian Wushuang, the four masters were all stunned. Rather, they were smashed by this sudden surprise. Top sages, who have been practicing in the first order of the Tao for a period of time. Is it possible to break through and become the ruler? The ruler of the rule can be gradually practiced to the extreme of the ruler in the second realm, and 2 or 3 of the 100 rulers can eventually become the ruler. How is this possible? The four masters were completely stunned. It is indeed that the role of the triple path is too strange in their eyes. Tianho Xiaoyu, this triple Tao realm really has the kind of effect you said? Xian Shindao looked at Jian Wushuang very nervously. Of course he is nervous, because if this is true, it will definitely be a huge opportunity for Tai Chi. The whole divine realm, in the beginning of the early years, could pass through the triple path realm, and was greatly affected by it. Of course it is true. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. He is not surprised at the reaction of the four masters in front of him. After all, when he saw the triple path realm himself, and listened to Lord Wu's words about the efficacy of the triple path realm, his head was also cyanotic, and the reason why these triple realms were chosen, because the triple realms are of great use to the early divine realm. Great, this is great. Great creation. This is definitely an unprecedented great creation for our pre-God world. Countless practitioners in my pre-God world can make a leap in strength through the triple path world. Naturally, my pre-God world's overall strength it will also increase sharply. In the face of the demon star army's killing, our grasp will be much too much. My dear friend, you really brought me a good baby too. The four masters were all amazed there. They have not returned to God yet. You know, Jian Wushuang has brought back treasures from the Red Cloud Realm twice. For the first time, they brought back 100 strongest treasures plus 100,000 peak treasures, which made them ecstatic, and although only one treasure was brought back this time, it was a rule of treasure and its function. It is much bigger than the strongest and highest peak treasures brought back before. After all, the baby thing is just an external enhancement of the practitioner's combat power, but it cannot change the strength of the practitioner himself. But the triple world is different. It can completely allow practitioners to understand and integrate more rules of heaven and earth, so that the practitioner's strength can be greatly improved or even breakthrough. This triple path world is more powerful than thousands of pieces, and more important. After a while, the four masters barely calmed down. Since the triple path world has such incredible effects for practitioners, we must plan well. Xian Shinto Man solemnly said, I suggest that we do rush to use the triple path realm for the entire Taichu divine realm. Instead, we will first select some elites from the Taichu divine realm and send them to practice in this triple Tao realm. Began to arrange a second group of people to enter. Spacetime Palace Main Road. Yes, this one is kept secret in advance. For the time being, some trustworthy people will be selected to enter the triple path. For example, we will select some practitioners from the 3 major free alliances and the 7-star Xuanzong and Xingong to enter. Road. Well, all 4 masters nodded. Chapter 3847. Second more. If you start working hard at the beginning, it will shake the whole world of the gods in the beginning, and they are not sure about the specific effects of the triple path world. Therefore, it is best to step by step and arrange some trusted people to enter it for cultivation. For, the first 2 of this triple path are for saints and rule masters, but the third path is also very helpful to the master. If the 4 have time, they can also go to the third path. Cultivation is practiced in the Tao. Jian Wushuang laughed again. Of course, a few of us can't wait to experience the magic of the triple path. The Celestial Alliance leader's eyes flashed. My dear friend, are you going to stay in the Xingong Palace next time? Xian Shinto asked. My wife's body has just recovered. I plan to take her home to take a look at it, and I should stay in the world for a longer period of time. If something happens in the horoscope, you can message me at any time, and I will use the most quickly arrived. Jian Wushuangdo. Okay. All 4 mysterious nods nodded. In the current Star Palace, Jian Wushuang is definitely the strongest combat force, but the 4 of them are not weak. Together with the strongest treasures of Jian Wushuang before, even if they meet the top masters, they are not at all. Fear. In this star field, unless the ancient Night Demon King came to the door in person, the Star House will be fearless. But the ancient Night Demon Prince apparently had no appetite for their little star house. Jian Wushuang quickly set off with the coldness of frost to return to the early world of God. Eternal Holy World. Many of the strong men from the chaotic world of ancient times are mostly concentrated in this ancient holy world. With the foundation of the ancient holy world, and the huge resources left by Jian Wushuang as the guarantee, the overall strength of the ancient chaotic world has been rapid in these years. Ascending. However, the most powerful level of the Great Emperor before the chaos world of Wangu is just a chaotic state. In the early days, the gods were weak and poor. Even after tens of thousands of years of growth, now the strongest sword Nantian in the chaos world of ancient times is the sword Wushuang's father can only reach the level of saints. Jian Wushuang returned with cold as frost. And the first time I saw Xiao Di and Tang Huang, father, cold as frost, looked at Emperor Xiao. His eyes were immediately wet. Shuanger, is it you? Is it really you? Xiao Di also shivered. For many years, nearly 200,000 years have passed since it was cold and frosty. It can be counted as the time in the ancient chaotic world, but nearly 20 million years. In such a long time, although Jian Wushuang always said that he would bring back the cold as frost, but Emperor Xiao had no hope at all. But now his daughter has actually returned. Master. Lung Rushuang saluted the Emperor Tang slightly. Haha, just come back, just come back. Tang Huang smiled. Jian Wushuang, who was watching quietly, relaxed at the bottom of his heart. Not long after, Jian Wushuang came to his parents with cold as frost. Jian Nantian and Ji Wuming of the first generation, Zhu Yinfeng and Luo Xinqin of the second generation all sat there, as well as several relatives and friends of Jian Wushuang. Everyone was sitting there. All eyes were on the frosty body. It was the first time they had seen cold as frost. Father-in-law, mother-in-law. Cold as a frosty gift. This is our daughter-in-law? Luo Xinqin looked up and down cold, frowning with a smile. Sister Xinqin, look, Shuang'er's vision is really good. Ji Wuming also laughed. They are the mothers of Jian Wushuang. They have met each other long ago, and there is no estrangement. They are sisters to each other. Soon the frost melted into the family, and the family enjoyed it for a few days. Then Jian Wushuang took the frost to the eternal chaos world. Green fire world. Shuang'er, look, there is the imperial city of the Tang dynasty. Jian Wushuang pointed at the huge city below and smiled. The imperial city has changed. Leng Rushuang also smiled slightly. Of course, after all, many years have passed. Jian Wushuang smiled. In the early days of the divine realm, for nearly 200,000 years, it was 20 million years in the chaotic world of ancient times. Of course, many changes have taken place in the 20 million years. However, in the Tang dynasty, there was always the shadow of sword, unparalleled sword. So it has been extremely strong for so many years. Shuang'er, let's walk around. Jian Wushuang took Frost's hand and walked into the imperial city of the Tang dynasty. In the next time, Jian Wushuang accompanied the cold as frost and lived in the green fire world for a long time. He went to the place where Jian Wushuang once ran and went to the chaotic world of ancient times. Cross the landscape, walk across the ends of the earth. After so many years, Jian Wushuang finally reunited with himself. And of course he had to accompany his wife. After all, he was too cold too much. After living in the chaotic world of ancient times for a period of time, they returned to the early world of the gods, and then continued to play. During this period, it took more than 3,000 years. During this time, the four rules were integrated into the cold, frosty become dominated. Finally, instead of traveling, they found a clean place to live. Witten's mystery, a heaven and earth mystery that naturally exists in the early world of the gods, because the mystery is relatively large and contains certain resources during the period. So after the discovery of the mystery, it led to a quarrel, and finally the mystery in the hands of a ruler. The ruler is Yuten. After that, the secret realm was commanded by the name of Yuten's lord. Numerous practitioners in the secret area believed in Yuten's lord and regarded it as a godlike existence. Yuten Palace, also recognized as the first force in Yuten's secret territory, is extremely transcendent. In a remote town in the secret place of Wutan, there is a sword hall called Tianho Sword Hall. The couple created this sword hall. They have been teaching some young people in the sword hall. Swordplay has been around for almost 50 years now. Under the old tree in the sword museum, a middle-aged man in black sat there, holding a yellowed book in his hand, and flipped around there. Teacher, this month, I have started to follow the instructions of the teacher to practice Thunderfire sword art, and practiced it for a whole month. I barely mastered this technique, but when I actually showed it, I didn't feel right. A teenager who looked just 16 or 17, with a touch of immature frowns on his face. The middle-aged man put down his books. You show Thunder swordsmanship to see. Yes. The boy immediately began practicing swordsmanship. Chapter 38-48. Third more. With the practice of swordsmanship, the middle-aged man could not help but shake his head just by using two swords. Stop it, said the middle-aged man. The boy immediately stopped the swordplay in his hand. You just told me that you've barely mastered this thunderbolt sword, but now I think you're far from mastering it, and even the most basic entry has not been reached. The middle-aged man said in a deep voice. I told you earlier that swordsmanship is not in its line, but what it means. Thunderfire swordsmanship. Why should it be named after the fire of thunder? It is the thunder of thunder, and the fiery irritability of thunder. But you have just the sword technique used is as gentle as the girl's house. How dare you say that you have mastered it? Ah! The boy's eyes widened, his heart suddenly opened up. No wonder he always felt that his sword skills were wrong. It turned out to be this way. Remember, what kind of swordsmanship is suitable for practicing what kind of swordsmanship? Your dignified man looked at you like a fiery fire before letting you practice this thunder fire swordsmanship. How could you practice this? I will give you another month. Time this month if you can't really master this thunderbolt sword. You don't need to come to the sword hall again. Middle-aged man said. Yes, teacher. The boy turned and left immediately. Fu Jun, are you too strict with this little guy? A beautiful woman in a plain robe walked to the middle-aged man and sat down. Yen has a high apprentice. This little guy is also a bit talented in swordplay. As long as he is slightly tuned up, he will be able to mix the wind and water in this secret realm in the future. The middle-aged man smiled. That's right, this middle-aged man and the beautiful lady in the robes are just as cold as Jian Wushuang and his wife. The two of them traveled for more than 3,000 years in the divine realm before they settled in this mysterious realm of Wutan. As for the sword museum, it was only opened without any problems. Huh? Jian Wushuang's expression suddenly moved, and he smiled. 30 years ago, the little guy who carried the deep hatred of blood came back. Oh! The cold, frosty soul's strength also permeated, but followed with a smile. Fu Jun, didn't you look good on that little guy at first? And also taught him some more advanced sword skills in private? Jian Wushuang opened this sword hall. Almost all the disciples who came to the sword hall were treated equally. And the sword art of kendo is only some of the most basic. Any disciple in the sword hall can learn. But only 30 years ago, he opened a small stove for that little guy and taught the opponent some more sophisticated swordsmanship. Of course, the so-called higher sword art, in the view of Jian Wushuang himself, is actually garbage, but for the little guys who are only chaos and gods in the sword hall, it is aloof. The little guy also had some talent in swordplay, and his strength improved quickly under my teachings. But when he broke through and reached the deity, he left without leaving, and now returning to see how he looks. It should be already revenge. As for strength, has also reached the level of the great god, which is considered good. Jian Wushuang smiled. While the two were talking, a young man wearing a bucket hat had arrived at the gate of the sword hall. Jian Wushuang made the young man come in. Teacher. The young man's voice was a little hoarse. Hu Yang in your eyes as well as my teacher? Jian Wushuang looked at the young man indifferently. Hu Yang was the young man's name. The disciple knows the wrong and does not ask the teacher to forgive him. The disciple only hopes to live with the teacher when he is alive. Hu Yang respectfully said, I have a lot of disciples in the sword hall, and there is no shortage of you. But there are too many leaves falling from my yard. But I need to be cleaned and cleaned by myself from time to time. Hu Yang froze but immediately followed and even surprised. Thank you, teacher. Well, look at you like this. I'm afraid it's been a long time to go. Quickly go to the backyard to clean up the house and rest. Lung Rushuang said. Thank you, master. Hu Yang immediately swept towards the backyard. After Hu Yang left, Jian Wushuang looked at each other coldly, and both laughed. You are a knife tofu heart. Lung Rushuang cursed with a smile. This little guy left without saying goodbye. I, the teacher, didn't punish me a little bit. What would I do? Jian Wushuang said. The two were chatting with each other, and the scene was extremely warm. From then on, that populous Euphraticus stayed in the courtyard every day, bringing tea and water for the two couples of Jian Wushuang, and clearing the dead leaves in the courtyard. After half a month, several streamers came to the front of the sword hall, and without notice, they fell directly on the longer center of the sword hall. Many disciples who are practicing in the sword hall have stopped their movements and looked at these figures. Jian Wushuang also came to the school ground. I don't know if you all come here. What's the matter? Jian Wushuang looked at the people in front of him calmly. Library owner, do you remember me? Among these figures, an evil young man in a golden robe stepped forward and said with a smile, Is you? Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. Of course I remember that you came to my sword hall to study more than 10 years ago. But just in March, I saw that you were born with poison, and expelled you from the sword hall. Since then you no longer have any relationship with the sword museum. Jian Wushuang and his wife have established the Ho Jianguan for more than 50 years. During these 50 years, many young people have come to this sword hall to learn swordsmanship. Among them there are some maggots and scum. Like this evil young man in front of him, he is the kind who is poisonous and evil by nature. After being seen by Jian Wushuang expelled him from the sword museum. Just being expelled, and no other punishment, Jian Wushuang is already very kind. It's me. I came here today to introduce you to my new worship teacher. The young man in Jinpao looked at a cold old man with narrowed eyes after he said it. You are the owner of this sword museum? There was a flash of sharp light in the cold old man's eyes. I heard that you drove my disciples out of the sword museum more than 10 years ago. And you are still insulting my students. I do know what I can't do as a teacher. Today husband wants to get justice for him. You can do it. As soon as the cold old man said, many disciples at the sword hall immediately understood. The feeling is that the young man in the gold robe was humiliated in the sword hall more than 10 years ago. Chapter 38-49. Fourth more. As soon as Hu Yang appeared, the breath of that great deity swept away, causing a sound of exclamation in the sword hall. You know, Yuten's mystery is only one side of the world. The strongest is Yuten's lord, and only one ruler. But aside from Yuten's lord, the strongest in Yuten's secret territory are those undead saints. But the number of undead saints in Yuten's South secret place is not many, and anyone is definitely a big man. In this city, the great deity is already a terrible powerhouse. At least the city owner of this city is far from the great god. Great deity? The young man in the golden robe was also shocked, but at the thought of his teacher's strength, he immediately felt relieved. I didn't expect that there is still a great deity in this small town. The cold old man squinting glanced at Hu Yang, but shook his head and said, a great deity is not qualified to be in front of the husband. Presumptuous. As soon as the words fell, I saw a strong breath of divine power swept up directly, sweeping everything and destroying everything. The breath of Populus Euphratica was completely covered, or even defeated. Undead saint. Hu Yang was overwhelmed. While many disciples in the sword hall were shocked, they were excited again. Immortal saint, for these young disciples in the sword hall. It is almost a legendary existence, but I did not expect to see one today. Haha, see it, this is my new teacher, Lord of the Eyes. The young man in the gold robe was very proud of seeing his master show great power. Teacher, this man is an undead saint. I am not his opponent. Hu Yang said softly before blocking the sword without double sides. Well, I know. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly, but suddenly he frowned. Are you in trouble again? Really? In the void not far away, there were more than 10 streamers rushing straight. At the beginning, it was only black spots, but in the blink of an eye, it already appeared in the sword hall. And these more than 10 figures can be more swaggering than when the cold old man and the young man in the golden robe enter the sword hall. Although the cold old man was an undead sage, he broke into the sword hall without being notified. But it was only after entering the sword hall that he showed his divine power. But the more than 10 people who are here now can detect the scorching weather from them from a distance. The breath of divine power was extremely powerful. For everyone in the sword museum, it was like a god, making them trembled. More than 10 figures appeared in front of everyone in the sword museum. Undead saints are all undead saints. Even the cold old man was shocked. He looked at the sudden appearance of more than 10 people. Not only that, they have a strong breath, much stronger than the strongest undead saint I have ever seen. At least it has reached the level of 6th, even 7th. The 6th and 7th order true sanctuaries are absolutely superlords in Yuten's secret territory, and are not comparable to other first-order true sanctuaries at all. In the presence of more than a dozen people, the arrogant and cold old man, who had just been so arrogant, immediately rose up and stood there, showing the color of awe, and dared not say much. Who among you is Hu Yang? The icy voice, like a god, came from the purple-haired woman headed by more than a dozen silhouettes. The purple-haired woman's breath was also the strongest. Jian Wushuang saw at a glance that she had reached the top saint level. Have you come to this little guy? Jian Wushuang glanced at Hu Yang in front of him, already guessing in his heart. This populous Euphratica bears a deep hatred of blood, and blood from the beginning. He started practicing sword art in the sword hall, and waited until his strength became strong. After more than 30 years, he chose to return, and his expression was not as depressed as before. Chapter 3850. Fifth More. From beginning to end, Jian Wushuang behaved very casually, was very safe, and felt extremely confident. In fact, Jian Wushuang is certainly confident, Lord of Yuten, but a ruler. When Jian Wushuang was weak in the early days, he ran through the realm of the gods. One of the rulers of His Majesty's Majesty. He doesn't need to call the Lord of the Heavens at all now. He just said hello to the 3 leaders of the Heavenly Palace. This is enough. With his current strength and status, a casual word is enough to shake the mountain in the early days. Even if he greets at will, the 3 palace lords who cut the Tianmeng didn't dare to neglect. Immediately the Lord of Yuten was reached as quickly as possible. As for the next, the saints from Yuten Palace were scorned by Jian Wushuang. They did not believe what Jian Wushuang said. They thought that Jian Wushuang was playing with them. Not only them, but even Hu Yang thought so. He also worried about his teacher. But when the woman in the purple clothes was about to take down the sword Wushuang, in their hearts, the Lord of Yuten, actually passed them on. Palace, has the messenger been heard? The woman in the purple dress froze slightly, but when she saw the content of the message, the woman in the purple dress was pale and frightened, and an unprecedented terror appeared in her eyes. This was the messenger of the Lord of Yuten. Stupid, what are you doing? Immediately, give the one in front of you, and wipe out the anger of the other party at all costs. If the other party is even dissatisfied with you afterwards, a few of you, as well as those close to you, including your teacher or friends, wash your neck and wait to be slaughtered. Yuten's lord was obviously really angry. There was even a deep panic in that anger. This panic was felt by several women in the purple clothes. How can this be? The woman in purple, and the undead saints from Yuten Palace, are trembling at the moment. From the words of Yuten's lord, they realized that they may be a real super-existence in front of them, even better than their lord. The Lord of Yuten is even stronger. Is it the master of the top rules from the early world of the gods, or even the master? The woman in purple thought in horror. As an elder of Yuten Palace, she knows more about Yuten's secret realm than others. She knows that she is only in the secret territory of one side of the world, and their lord of the palace is only a ruler in the pre-god world. And in that early divine realm, there were many rulers who were stronger than the main rule of his palace. Chances are they've met one now. Taking a deep breath, the figure of the woman in purple immediately fell down. In the sword hall, everyone was waiting for the reaction of the purple women. When they saw the purple women falling down, they thought their women were about to start. But in the end, the woman in purple came to Jian Wushuang, but she knelt down on one knee directly. I'm offended when I don't know the identity of the adult. The adult can dispose and punish me etc. at will, but I also ask the adult to know for those who are not guilty. They can open up and let me wait for my life. The woman in purple was kneeling there. Her head was very low, and the other undead saints were also kneeling down there. The atmosphere did not dare to come out. Silence. The entire sword hall was dead. The cold old man, and the young man in the golden robe felt at this moment an unprecedented chill that filled their whole body and mind. The 9 elders of the magnificent Wutan Palace, one of the highest powers in Wutan's secret realm, are kneeling down at the owner of the Sword Museum, asking for their lives? No, how is this possible? The cold old man's eyes also rounded. Teacher. Hu Yang looked at Jian Wushuang in wonder. The owner. The disciples in the sword hall were equally trembling. Jian Wushuang only smiled slightly. I said just do it. Yuten Palace should not be held to my disciples. Dare. The woman in purple shook her head again and again. At this juncture, let alone Hu Yang just killed a core disciple of Yuten Palace. Even if Hu Yang killed most of the core disciples of Yuten Palace, she would never dare to say more. Okay, you can go, but when you go, take these guys along for me too. My Jindian temple is too small to tolerate them. Jian Wushuang pointed at the cold old man and Jean. The two young men in robes smiled. Yes. The woman in purple clothes nodded respectfully. After getting up, she said nothing to directly use the means to capture the cold old man and the young man in the golden robe, and then took away the undead saints of Yuten Palace. In the early morning, the woman in purple clothes waited for the sword house to calm down again. Okay, they are all separated, go and practice swordsmanship. Jian Wushuang waved his hand and walked towards the backyard. Teacher. Hu Yang wants to keep up, but pauses on the way. He wanted to know who his teacher was, what his amazing identity was, and why even the elders of Yuten Palace had to kneel before him. But Jian Wushuang obviously did not intend to tell him what he meant. The sword museum calmed down again, but what happened before was really seen clearly by many sword museum disciples. These disciples were all excited and were guessing the identity and strength of the museum owner. Not only that, the incident also passed through these disciples and soon spread within the city. But it was only in this city, and it could not be transmitted to other places. So it passed, and there was almost nothing to believe. These people who have lived in the secret world of Yuten since their birth have long recognized that Yuten's secret realm is heaven and earth, and the Lord of Yuten is the strongest being. Strong they dare not think about it. 10 days later, Hu Yang. Jian Wushuang called Hu Yang over. Teacher Hu Yang is very respectful. After a while, someone will come to visit the sword museum. You wait at the door, wait for him to come, and take him directly to me. Jian Wushuang instructed. Yes. Hu Yang nodded respectfully, even if he immediately waited for the gate of the sword hall. After a while, someone came to the gate of sword house. This is an old man dressed in black, with a thin body and a goatee's beard. This old man has a unique breath. At least Hu Yang cannot see the truth. Dare you ask your excellency to come to visit the teacher? Hu Yang looked at the person. Yes, you are the little friend of Populus Euphratica, right? The goat-bearded old man smiled. End of this chapter. Dear, click in and give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that a beautiful wife was found at the end of the new score. Chapter 3851. Sixth more. Hu Yang's friend. Hu Yang smiled slightly. Sir, come with me. Hu Yang immediately led the goatee-bearded man to the inner courtyard. In the courtyard, still under the old tree, Jian Wushuang and the two sat there with tea in front of them. Teacher, it's here, Hu Yang said. Yuten, meet Lord Jiantian Ho and Madam. The goatee-bearded man immediately saluted. Yunan. Hu Yang stunned. In the secret territory of Wutan, everyone knows that the most powerful is the master of Yuten, so most people will avoid these two words when they are named. And the person in front of him is called Yuten? Don't all of you in Yuten's secret realm regard Yuten's lord as a god? Why is this standing in front of you, and you don't recognize it? Lung Rushuang smiled lightly. Hu Yang fiercely stared. He had understood what Lung Rushuang meant. Yuten, are you lord of Yuten? Hu Yang man looked at the goat-bearded old man inconceivably. Oten lord, in this Yuten secret territory. That is the supreme deity, who controls everything. The practitioners in this secret realm start from birth, and they believe in this Yuten lord. Populus Euphratica is no exception. But now, the supreme deity in his heart even stood in front of him, and in front of his teacher. It was obviously very respectful and restrained. And then thought that the Lord of Utton had just described himself as a friend of Populus Euphratica. Hu Yang just felt his head full of cyanosis. Oh my god, teacher, what is there? Why is Yuten's lord so respectful to him? Hu Yang growled in his heart. Okay, Poplar, go down first. Jian Wushuang waved. Hu Yang nodded his head, then walked out of the courtyard. But apparently he hadn't recovered when he left. Inside the courtyard, Master of Yuten, sit down. Jian Wushuang waved. Don't dare. Lord Yuten stood there, very restrained. He is of course restrained. He is not as ignorant as the cultivation in this secret realm. He is very clear about the existence of the person in front of him. That was one of the strongest gods in the early days. Although it was only the ruler of the rule, it was enough to be tied with the master. Even the masters of the early gods were faintly led by him. He is the lord of the void realm. In the face of such a super existence, it is good to not kneel down directly. How dare he sit down? Lord of Yuten, did you come for that thing 10 days ago? Jian Wushuang asked with a smile. Yes. The Lord of Yuten nodded quickly. 10 days ago, my subordinates didn't know Taishan and offended your lord. I have punished them severely, but today I came to the Lord intentionally. You paid for it. In fact, Jian Wushuang said at the time that things were over. That is to say, they would not be held accountable. But the Lord of Yuten took the initiative to pay for his crimes. Haha, that matter is over. I won't blame you anymore. Jian Wushuang laughed. Listening to Jian Wushuang's own words, the Lord of Yuten was relieved. By the way, Lord of Yuten, you are the ruler of His Majesty's rule, and you are still at the core level. Then you should know about the triple path, right? Jian Wushuang looked over. Of course I know, and I have been practicing in that second Dao realm before. But only after that happened 10 days ago, I immediately rushed over from the Dao realm. Lord Yuten respectfully said, the triple path realm is of great use to the early divine realm. At the beginning, Xian Shen did not use this treasure to all the high-level practitioners in the early divine realm, but only selected some of them who had a good faith and secretly entered the triple path to cultivate. But after thousands of years, most of the undead saints who entered them broke through and became the masters of the rules. And the masters of the rules have also greatly improved their strength. Plus a few of the gods themselves' cultivation in the third Dao realm fully affirmed the efficacy of the triple Dao realm. Therefore, this treasure began to be used by many high-level practitioners in the early gods. In the 2000 years, there have been a large number of undead saints in the early gods, and the masters of many rules have been sent to the triple path. Among them, the Lord of Yuten is himself a ruler of the core layer of the Heavenly Alliance, and of course he is also qualified to enter the triple realm. Have you been cultivating in the triple realm before? Jian Wushuang looked and asked. How effective is the practice? It's amazing. In less than 1,000 years, I have already mastered one more rule. From the void realm to the void realm. This is the reason why my talent is more general. Several of them entered at the same time as me. The ruler of the second Dao realm has been ascending 2 realms in succession. This triple Dao realm is definitely an incredible place. Yuten Lord exclaimed. After that, he did not forget to glance at Jian Wushuang quietly, because there is a rumor in the triple path realm that said that the triple path Real was brought back from the universe battlefield by Jian Wushuang. It seems that the improvement of the strength of the senior Taoist practitioners in the triple realm is really good. Jian Wushuang nodded secretly, and then said, Okay, nothing is wrong, you can go back and practice well. Yes. Lord Yuten left immediately. In the courtyard, only Jian Wushuang and his wife remained. Before, we just wanted to find a quiet place to live a quiet life. But after the incident of 10 days ago, we were afraid that it would be difficult to continue a quiet life here. Cold as frost. It doesn't matter, we can just change places. Jian Wushuang smiled. Nodded coldly. In recent years, he and Jian Wushuang have traveled all over the world together, and have come to this secret world to live an indisputable life, really very happy. This happiness, of course, she wants to continue as long as possible. Jian Wushuang also knew this, and he was willing to accompany his wife. Suddenly, Jian Wushuang's look suddenly changed. What's wrong? Lung Rushuang looked over. Shuanger, I'm sorry. Jian Wushuang frowned and said apologetically. The frost was immediately clear. Is Xingong? Lung Rushuang asked. Jian Wushuang nodded. Xianshen just sent me a message saying something happened to Xingong, and asked me to go as soon as possible. That being the case, then go. Lung Rushuang smiled slightly without paying any attention, but Jian Wushuang is still a little apologetic, because he just said that he would take the cold place to the next place to continue this quiet life. But in a blink of an eye he had to go back to the Star Palace. Go, don't forget, you are the biggest pillar of Taichu God Realm. Taichu God Realm needs you. Lung Rushuang whispered softly. Jian Wushuang nodded. Chapter 3852. The first is more. In the Sword Hall, Jian Wushuang called Hu Yang. Hu Yang, my master and I will leave here soon. Jian Wushuang said directly. Leave, Hu Yang said for a moment. Teacher, where are you going? Beyond this world. It should be a very remote place for you. And this sword house, I intend to give it to you. Jian Wushuang looked at Hu Yang. With a wave of his hand, a sword intention rushed directly into the body of Hu Yang. I left a kendo in your body. This sword intention barely reached the threshold of the ruler. You can learn by yourself. If in the future, you can fully understand and grasp the meaning of this sword, you can leave this world and come to me, and I will accept you as a named disciple. Do you understand the sword? Hu Yang clenched his hands. The disciples must work hard. Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded. After the explanation, he left with cold as frost. As for the sword hall, he opened it casually. Many disciples in the sword hall, and Jian Wushuang also admired Hu Yang a little. But he only admired Hu Yang's heart. He left a sword meaning, this sword meaning. It is difficult to fully grasp the talents of Hu Yang. This is also a severe test for Hu Yang. If he could really grasp that sword in the future, Jian Wushuang would not mind accepting him as a named disciple. After leaving Wutan's secret realm, Lung Rushuang chose to return to the ancient holy realm. And Jian Wushuang immediately left and rushed to the Star Palace. Within the horoscope, the alert is obviously much stricter than before. When Jian Wushuang came to Shinggong, the Xian Shinto, the Lord of Time and Space, the Lord of Heaven and the Heavenly Ancestor were already waiting there. Tianho Xiaoyu, I'm sorry to disturb you and your wife. Xian Shindao apologized. Anyway, let's be serious. Jian Wushuang said in a deep voice. This time some of you were so anxious to call me over. What should have happened to Shinggong? Yes, I am in a crisis this time, Xian Shindao said. Crisis? Is it the ancient night magic palace? Jian Wushuang frowned. The overall strength of the Star Palace is now extremely arrogant. Not only does it have its own place, but only a few of the Shinto people. It is the four masters of the fighting force, and the existence of thousands of rules, such strength, in the Star Domain. The only person who can bring a crisis to the Star Palace is the ancient Night Demon Palace, created by the ancient Night Demon King. Yes, Xian Shin nodded, and then began to narrate in detail. Things are caused by the Triple Path. This rule is a treasure. The Triple Path realm is counterproductive. At the beginning we did not use this Triple Path realm in the whole Taiji world. But as one practitioner entered the Triple Path realm, his strength was significantly improved. In order to upgrade Taichu as soon as possible, the combat power of the Divine Realm began to impress the delay in the early Divine Realm, and convened a large number of powerful men from all sides to practice in it. Although these were all completed in the Taichu Divine Realm, even in the Taichu Divine Realm, there were eyeliners and spies from other astral realms, as well as those forces in this astral realm. In the world, the powerful parties of this star domain have also received the news, and this news naturally reached the ancient Night Magic Palace. Ancient Night Magic Palace is now the absolute overlord of this star field, and judging from the style of the ancient Night Magic Lord, he has always been extremely domineering. Before, it was just because my star palace was weak, and the ancient Night Magic Palace it doesn't look at us. But the magic of this triple world now marches countless powerful people in this star field, and the ancient Night Magic Palace naturally became interested. Just a few days ago, the monarch in his majesty of the ancient Night Demon Palace came to my star palace. Juanjin dominates? Jian Wushuang looked. He also knows that the ruler of this monarch is a lone master in this star domain. Its combat power is relatively strong among the high masters, and he is deceitful. He must be resentful with many major forces in this star domain. After the rise of the Demon King, the Beihai Palace was destroyed, and the ancient Night Demon King was created. The monarch ruled, and then worshipped the ancient Night Demon Palace, and became a master of the ancient Night Demon King. After the ruler of that monarch arrived, he directly proposed that the Triple Path realm, of course he said it better, saying that the ancient Night Demon Prince was very interested in this Triple Path realm, and wanted to borrow to play and wait for a while time will send me back to the Xing Palace again. Xian Shinto sneered. This kind of deception to a 3-year-old child, we will naturally not believe it. We refuse to give him the triple path, and the monarch and his lord immediately turned his face with us and even fought. However, although this monarch and his lord's strength is good, he is considered to be very strong among the higher lords. But the four of us these years have also been cultivated in the triple path, and the strength has greatly improved, coupled with those strongest treasures you brought back from Xiaoyu before. We easily passed him off. Of course, for the sake of the ancient Night Demon King, we just defeated him and let him go. But when he went back, he informed the ancient Night Demon King of it, and also said jealously to me the palace humiliated him violently, angered the ancient Night Demon Prince, and directly rumored that within 10 years I, the Star Palace Lord, was required to take the triple path to personally go to the ancient Night Demon Palace to pay guilt. Otherwise he would directly take a shot and completely destroy my star house. After the mysterious Shinto man spoke, his look was obviously with a touch of worry. Not only him, but also the three mysterious gods, the ancestor and the ancestor of heaven. Although in the past few years they have cultivated in the third realm, their strength has been greatly improved, but they can only kill the ancient Night Demon King dominated by Yu with only one move. They are a little bit faced with no confidence. I understand. After Jian Wushuang heard it, he nodded slightly. He has understood the cause and effect of this matter. It is nothing more than that the triple path world is too magical, which caused the ravages of that ancient night magic palace. But the triple path realm is the rule of treasure he brought out from the red cloud realm. It has unprecedented use for the entire Taichu deity. How would the mysterious gods surrender this triple path realm? Heavenly friend, we are calling you this time, and we want to discuss countermeasures together to see how we can resolve this crisis in the Shinggong Palace, said the Master of Space and Time. The triple path can never be surrendered, there is no doubt about it. Yes, the ancestor and Tianzu both nodded. Xianshen, in my opinion, it is better to just abandon the Shinggong Palace. We will go directly to the Taichi God realm, and we will not come out of the Taichi God realm in the future. Your ancient Night Demon King is strong, but as long as we stay in the Taichi God realm, he also has nothing to do with us. The Celestial Alliance Lord said lowly. Chapter 3853. Second more. Abandon the horoscope? Several of the masters present were stunned. If they directly abandoned the Shinggong Palace, and they all returned to the early divine realm, then the ancient Night Demon King did not take them at all. After all, in the early days, the realm of God was exclusive from the outside world. The ancient Night Demon King was even stronger. In the early shooting world, he could only maintain the power of the ruler. His combat power was at best enough to reach the master. Long life, otherwise you dare not venture into it. But the key is that the Star Palace has existed in this star field for so many years, more or less, and has more strength. Apart from that, there are thousands of rulers in the Star Palace alone. This is a very powerful combat force. In the future, the battle with Devil Star will be used. It is a pity to abandon it like this. And once they choose this way, then they are destined to hide in the early world of the gods in the future, unable to come to the universe battlefield. When it breaks, it breaks. In my opinion, it is the most unfortunate way to directly abandon the Shinggong. Now that we have the triple path, we can easily create a large number of rulers in the early world of God, and even many masters. As for the supreme treasure, one of Tianhao's friends brought it back from the Red Cloud realm before. We can use it enough. Even if we do indeed come to the universe battlefield in a short time, it is not a problem. Tianzu also said. I agree. The Lord of Time and Space also nodded. Xianshen, the Lord of the Celestial Sect, the Lord of Space and Time, and the Heavenly Ancestor all looked at the Xianshinto. The Shinggong was created by the Xianshin Taoists. It must be abandoned directly. The most reluctant one is naturally Xianshen. Zuanshen's brow frowned deeply, and his heart was full of hesitation. But before waiting for Xianshen to reply, Jian Wushuang suddenly said, in fact, this matter has not yet reached the point where the Shinggong will be abandoned. Huh? Xianshen looked up immediately. The other three masters also immediately looked at Jian Wushuang. Tianhou Xiaoyu, Do you have another way to get out of this crisis in the Shingon? The Master of Time and Space asked. The solution is there. And it's very simple. I went directly to the ancient Night Demon Palace and talked to the ancient Night Demon King. Jian Wushuang smiled. What kind of method is this? The Lord of Time and Space frowned. The ancient Night Demon Monarch is overbearing, and his strength is overwhelming. If you go to him, he may kill you without saying a word. This is not the solution. Heavenly friend, this method is impossible for you at all. The ancient Night Devil is definitely not that hard to listen to you. Unless your strength is strong enough, you can compete against him, or let him do nothing to you. So maybe I will listen to you. Tianzu said. I should have such strength. Jian Wushuangdo. What? Xianshan Taoist, Lord of Time and Space, Lord of Heaven and Earth, and Heavenly Ancestor all looked at Jian Wushuang together. Tianho Xiaoyu, you just said, you have the strength to compete with the ancient Night Demon King? Are you sure? The mysterious man with the mysterious face. You know, the ancient Night Demon Prince killed the top master with one stroke. The formerly recognized strongest player in this star domain, Yu, was dominated by this ancient Night Demon Lord. He was scared and furious. How strong Jun is in the end is a mystery, but there is no doubt that in this star field, it should be unstoppable. And Jian Wushuang said that he could compete with that ancient Night Devil? Please rest assured. I know the origin of the ancient Night Devil. I know the details and strength of him. And I probably know him. Although I am not sure of winning, he wants to win me, but it is not so easy. And if I simply save my life, even if the ancient Night Demon King is even 2 or 3 times stronger, I don't even think about it. Jian Wushuang is very confident. He did have that confidence. When he went to the darkened demon realm, his combat power had reached the 2nd level of dominating level, and he made a huge breakthrough in the darkened demon realm, mastered a trace of the law of the universe, which increased his strength many times. And after returning from the darkened realm, he stayed in the Red Cloud realm for thousands of years. During these thousands of years, he could have been in the Red Cloud realm twice. With the help of those opportunities, his strength was also greatly improved. He also has a lot of whole cards in his hand. Now he is really strong, very strong. And that ancient night demon is a prisoner who escaped from the 1st floor of the eternal dark prison. Its strength is either the top dominate of the 2nd series, or the primary dominated level of the 3rd series. For these 2 levels, if it is the former, he can fight head to head. And even the outcome is unpredictable. As for the latter, he can easily entangle him to save his life, even if he is not an enemy. Therefore, from the beginning, Jian Wushuang did not have much fear of this ancient night demon, because the other party couldn't help himself. Jian Tianho, you really have the confidence to deal with that ancient night demon king? The Lord of the Sky is still unbelievable. That's natural. Everyone is at ease in this horoscope, waiting for my good news. Jian Wushuang smiled. Seeing him so confident, the 4 masters glanced at each other and nodded secretly. In their impression, Jian Wushuang has done wonders for them more than once. Like the darkened demon realm, in such extremely dangerous places, they repeatedly discouraged them before they asked Jian Wushuang to break in. But as a result, isn't Jian Wushuang alive and out of the dark demon realm? Like the Red Cloud realm, for a long time, no one in this star field has been able to pass the test of the 1st day of the Red Cloud realm. But Jian Wushuang has broken through and brought a lot of treasures from the Red Cloud realm, and that incredible triple path. All of these add up to their confidence in Jian Wushuang. Now that Jian Wushuang said that they had the confidence to face the ancient night devil, they also chose to believe it. But you should be careful. If you can't defeat that ancient night demon king, you will retreat. After all, it will not work. We abandon the Shingon Palace and retreat to the original world directly. Rest assured, I'm not going to make a joke about my life. Jian Wushuang was smiling. After saying goodbye to the 4 goddess Xianshan, Jian Wushuang left directly and went towards the ancient night demon palace. The ancient night magic palace was once the old nest of Beihai Palace. At first, Xianshan brought Sword Wushuang to get the Huangquan sword. Chapter 3854. Third More. Beihai Palace. No, it is now the ancient night magic palace. Jian Wushuang is in black, with a sword in his back, standing in the void, looking down at the huge magic palace covered by the magic array in front. Compared to Beihai Palace, the ancient night magic palace now has a stronger overall strength, and the palace gate is more magnificent. Jian Wushuang swept directly to the entrance, and as soon as he approached, the two figures blocked directly in front of him. Who? The breath emanating from these two figures is extremely not weak, and they have reached the level of the four realms. Troublesome announcement, said Blood Sword, came to visit the ancient night demon. Jian Wushuang said indifferently, Blood Sword, Lord of the Blood Sword? Both rulers were taken aback. The name of a person, the shadow of a tree. Jian Wushuang is recognized as the strongest and most anti-rule ruler in the history of this star field, and it can compete with the top masters. These strong are certainly awesome, like the two rulers of the Void Realm who are standing in front of Jian Wu's two sides. If they saw Jian Wushuang before, they must be respectful, but now thinking of the huge ancient night magic palace behind them, and the one who has the sky, the ancient night demon king of the thorough means, their vigor is also full. Lord of the Blood Sword, wait a moment here, and I'll report it for you. One of the rulers immediately went in to inform. Jian Wushuang was not in a hurry, and stood here quietly. The magnificent palace is magnificent. The ancient night devil wearing a dark ink armor is sitting there, and there is a large number of beautiful girls dancing there. The ancient night devil is holding a fine wine in one hand, holding a beauty in his hand, and looking at the beautiful G below, so leisurely. The ancient night devil has indeed been very leisurely these years. You know, he escaped from that eternal hell. Eternal dark prison is almost a huge battlefield of Shura. The prisoners detained there can only survive as much as possible. To this end, the prisoners must always be careful and not tolerate a slack. How can there be a leisurely and comfortable life? The ancient night devil was imprisoned inside. I don't know how many years, he has been driven crazy. Now he managed to escape. The first thing he did was to occupy a large area and search for beautiful women to enjoy the blessing of all people. Relax your mind and body. At this moment, the ruler of the notice came in. Devil, the Lord of the Blood Sword, went outside the palace and said he was visiting the demon. The ruler said on one knee respectfully, Visit. There are also several masters in the palace under His Majesty the ancient night demon king, all of whom came here at this moment. Are you sure you are talking about visiting, not visiting? Junshi ruled. It's clear, but he's talking about visiting. The ruler of that name, the Lord Junji, frowned immediately. Visits and visits seem to be only a word away, but their meanings are quite different. You know, now the ancient night demon king is the absolute overlord in this star field. The power of all the parties in this star field, including the top masters, must come here to see him honestly. But the Lord of the Blood Swords who came here now said it was a visit? Visiting is tantamount to placing yourself on the same level as the ancient night demon king. The Lord of the Blood Sword? The Lord of Arul? The ancient night devil's eyes looked down, but his eyes were very flat, without any anger. If the other party is a top master, he may still be annoyed when he comes to visit him, but he is too lazy to care about just being a ruler. After all, the ruler is just an ant, and he doesn't care. Devil, the Lord of the Blood Sword, is indeed the ruler of the rules, but it is the ruler of the most outrageous rule in the history of this astral field. His talents are unparalleled from ancient to modern. When the world was born, he already had the top dominance. Oh, the ancient night demon kings look moved, apparently interested. The ruler has the combat power of the first level top master? These talents, even in the vast universe, are not many. Haha, I didn't expect your star field and such a genius. After knowing Jian Wushuang's combat power, the ancient night devil was surprised. The Lord of the Blood Sword is not bad. If you capture him and let him completely surrender to me, then when he breaks down to become the master, he may become one of my arms. The ancient night demon chuckled. That cold his eyes looked down. Empty Lord. Devil. The emperor salutes respectfully. Do you know the Lord of the Blood Sword? The ancient night demon asked. Of course. The owner of the sky smiled slightly. He is indeed the first demon in our star field, and the strongest ruler in history. This is true. His combat power is comparable to the top master. This is also true. And the one who recognizes his top dominance is me. At the time in the Red Cloud Realm, Jian Wushuang challenged the strong players from all sides, and the only top master who took the initiative to challenge was the Empty Master. At that time, Jian Wushuang fought against the Empty Master. Although falling into the downwind, the Empty Master had no way to take him. Afterwards, the Empty Master publicized the sword to have the top dominating power. But now the Empty owner has already surrendered to the ancient night demon. This is also smart enough. After knowing that Beihai Palace was easily overthrown by the ancient night demon king, he took the initiative to surrender. And His Majesty also has a large force, who also joined the ancient night demon palace. The position of the ancient night demon palace is second only to the ancient night demon king. And the ancient night demon king is also generous. He followed the ancient night demon king, and also gained a lot of benefits strength ratio before that. It also improved a lot. Since you've dealt with it before, it's even simpler. You go and catch the Lord of the Blood Sword and bring me to see you, the ancient night demon commanded. Devil, although I am a lot stronger than the main one of the Blood Sword, but the Blood Sword's life-saving ability is very good. Even if I can't beat me, I can easily leave. With my strength, he took it. The owner frowned. Oh. The ancient night devil raised his eyebrows and laughed afterwards. This is even more interesting. Anyway, although you fight with him, I will see how capable this ruler is. But you be careful when shooting, but don't kill him. Yes. The emperor smiled, then turned to go outside the palace. The ancient night demon is not interested in these beautiful ladies in front of him, but permeates the power of the soul, paying attention to the sword unparalleled outside the magic palace. Chapter 3855. Fourth more. Outside the magic palace, Jian Wushuang was waiting there silently. Suddenly a figure looted from the inside of the demon palace, and appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Are you Empty Master? Jian Wushuang showed surprise. The Lord of the Blood Sword, it's been a long time. The emperor smiled indifferently. Did you even join the ancient night magic palace? Of course, the so-called knowledgeable person is Junjia, and the devil are in the world. No one can resist this star field. What is weird when I worship under the devil? Not to mention the benefits I have gained under the devil in these years. Now am His Majesty's first general. The Lord of the Blood Sword. You are extremely talented, but no one can guide you in this star field. So you are still only the Lord of the Rules. Why not worship His Majesty, and become His Majesty like me a major battle? As long as the Demon King will give you a few words at random, maybe you will break through directly and become the master. In the future, will I wait for the Demon King to fight the universe together? Wouldn't you be happy? Said the Empty Master. Brief to His Majesty the ancient night demon king, and become his next general? The sword has no weird color on both sides. Empty Master, I don't like sending you under the fence like you. If you dominate, I will naturally break through slowly. The master is troubled. I came to visit the ancient night demon king today to discuss something with him. I want to talk about something. It should be your Shinggong thing, right? Emperor looked at Jian Wushuang. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. Haha. Your star palace has been dominated by several masters, and has been indifferent to humiliate the monarch and master of the ancient night demon palace. The demon is already aware of this, and it is quite angry, and it is about to destroy your star palace. At this time you come to ask for mercy again. I'm afraid it's too late. Of course, if you worship His Majesty and become your Majesty's warlord, the Majesty will definitely not be offended when you open your net. Even your star palace will rise in this star field in the future. What? The host continued to invite. I am the owner. I said that I am not interested in what kind of warlords, and I am too lazy to tell you more. You still have to talk to your devil and tell him to come out. Jian Wushuang was carrying his hands coldly. Road. Toasting without eating and drinking. That's the case. Then I can only catch you to see the demon." The voice of the empty master was cold, and a mighty divine spirit swept out of him. The next moment, the empty master will start directly. I saw the Lord's slap turned, and a red gold sledgehammer appeared in his hand. The sledgehammer was so powerful that it was the strongest treasure in attack. The void shook slightly, and the red gold sledgehammer of the empty owner directly transformed into a red gold lightning, smashing across the void towards the sword unparalleled at a terrifying speed. The red gold lightning is extremely fast, and the mighty power is extremely powerful. This empty master seems to be stronger than he was at the beginning. Jian Wushuang's eyebrows lined up. As soon as he saw the red gold lightning, he could see that the empty master's power was better than the last time he had met him in the red cloud realm in time. We have to be a lot stronger. Of course, he is no longer comparable when Hongyanji was born. The sword unparalleled sword came out directly. Huang Quan's magic sword turned into a dark phantom, and one sword was cut out at will. It is indeed a very random sword, but the origin of the Kendo universe contained in sword art is extremely strong. A low impact sounded, and the arms of the empty master sank slightly. "What?" No Lord frowned. "But sword unparalleled and one after another. Each sword is so casual and plain. But this sword came. But the owner could not resist with all his might. And even if he resisted, it was extremely difficult. How is it possible? How does his swordplay work so well, and the power contained in this swordplay? His divine power is obviously not very strong, but the swordplay shows up and completely covers my strength." Sledgehammer. Emperor's face was incredible. The last time he played in the Red Cloud realm, his strength was not as strong as he is now, but he could still easily suppress Jian Wushuang. But he could not kill the other party. But now fighting again, his strength has obviously become stronger, but can fight. But is he completely suppressed? The demon wants me to pay attention to the size, don't accidentally kill him. But in this situation, how can I still have the opportunity to pay attention to the size? I saw the abrupt scream of the Lord, and at the center of his eyebrow, a cold light suddenly appeared. This ray of light is directly integrated into the surface of the god's body, and the breath on the master suddenly increases suddenly. He wields the power of the red gold sledgehammer, and instantly gets a tremendous increase. Boom! The red golden sledgehammer ran down and down, as if the whole world was oppressed. Second level combat power? There was a flash of surprise in Jian Wu's eyes. The last time the empty master played against him, it was just the normal first level top dominated combat power. But now he fights again. Its combat power is obviously among the top masters, which is extremely terrible. And it is still on display. It is comparable to the attack power dominated by the second level. It seems that he did get a lot of benefits under the ancient Night Demon King. Jian Wushuang nodded secretly, followed the figure, a simple rush, and the Huangquan Excalibur was also a simple straight piercing. His divine power has not been improved, but the origin of Kendo universe contained in swordsmanship is suddenly richer than before. Clang! Huangquan's Excalibur struck directly with the red gold sledgehammer. The sledgehammer looked very heavy, and the sword unparalleled Huangquan Excalibur looked very thin compared to the sledgehammer. But in this collision, the swordless Huangquan's Excalibur did not move. Instead, it was the red gold sledgehammer in the empty master's hand. At this moment it was directly thrown out. In the hands, the magic soldiers were thrown away. The sword Wushuang Huangquan's magic sword power had not been completely exhausted, and it still stabbed directly on the god's body. The master's body was violent, and his breath instantly weakened. How can it be? The empty master stood still again, looking up at Jian Wushuang. His face was incredible. Is it possible? Chapter 3856. Fifth More. Haha. Magnificent laughter rang through the world. And within the rules of the ancient Night Demon Palace, a burly figure of a black warframe slowly stepped out. Behind this burly figure, he also followed several masters who surrendered to the ancient Night Demon Monarch, including the Monarch Master. Is the Lord of the Blood Sword right? Someone under me said that you can compete with the top masters at the level of the Lord of the Rules. I am still not quite convinced, but now you see, you are better than they say. Many more. The owner has followed me all these years, and his strength has improved a lot. I have also taught him a trick. The combat power that broke out in a short time can barely reach the second level, but you are still defeated by your sword. I am afraid that your strength is better than the one I defeated before. There was a trace of heat in the eyes of the ancient Night Demon King. I decided starting today, you are my first general, and as for the master, let me be the second general. Hearing the words of the ancient Night Demon King, the emptiness of the mouth of the Lord was slightly drawn, and he did not speak. The world has always been respected for its strength. Jian Wushuang defeated him. If he really worshipped His Majesty the ancient Night Demon King, it would naturally be the first general, and his position must be higher than him. You are the ancient Night Demon King? Jian Wushuang took a closer look at the ancient Night Demon King. It is worthy to escape from a purgatory-like place in the eternal dark prison. The breath and oppression of the ancient Night Devil are extremely strong. The whole person stands there without having to take a shot, but it feels like a worldwide demon in general. The spirit alone is enough to make ordinary masters afraid. The ancient Night Demon, you want me to be your general, and that's simple, as long as your strength is strong enough to tremble me. But until now, I have not the slightest tremor, or even the idea of fear. Jian Wushuang smiled. Haha, a genius like you is a bit arrogant and normal. You want to see my strength, I fulfill you. You are optimistic. The ancient Night Devil laughed and waved directly. Ha! Convergence of divine power. The ancient Night Demon's right hand became crystal clear, and immediately directed towards the location of the sword Wushuang, a direct shot. A simple shot, but instantly there is a towering handprint condensed in the void. This handprint contains 5 different rules at the same time, and they are perfectly integrated with each other, exuding a breathtaking sense of extinction. As soon as it took shape, the huge surrounding space was completely shuttered, as if it could not bear the power of the palm print. Around the Demon Palace, the lords of the ancient Night Demon Palace, including many rulers, saw their palms widened and exclaimed the moment they saw the print. In their eyes, this palm print he was terrible. Those masters saw it more thoroughly, and they could very clearly sense the power of their body that shivered in the palm print. This power is like being able to kill them at will with one hand. And indeed it is. At one time, this ancient Night Demon Prince killed the top-level Tianping Master with one hand, and then he will dominate the heavy damage of the second level of Yu, scaring him away. Now this palm, the ancient Night Demon, is just to deter Jian Wushuang. He doesn't want to kill Jian Wushuang, so the power of this palm has not reached the level of killing Tianpeng. But it is also amazing. At least the average master can't afford it. Seeing this huge palm print bombarded, Jian Wu's eyes were dim. Before this ancient Night Demon Master did not shoot, Jian Wushuang could not judge his specific strength. But now he really shot. Jian Wushuang knew that the strength of this ancient Night Demon King should not have reached the 3rd level. It is estimated that the peak of the 2nd series, or the most extreme, the strong at this level alone, are not yet qualified to make sword Wushuo fearless. I saw the sword Wushuang still inexorably wielding the Huangquan divine sword in his hands. A heavy sword rises, forming a heavy earth sword area. In a blink of an eye, Jian Wushuo already covered dozens of major sword areas in front of him. He stood there motionless, and let the huge palm print bombard the earth sword. Ha! The roar of terror was shaking, and the destruction of that huge palm print could erupt completely, sweeping frantically around everything. However, in the very center of the palm printing power, Jian Wushuang still stood there intact. In the dozens of major sword areas on his body, although most of them were defeated, there were still a lot of them left. That is to say, the palm of the ancient Night Devil has not broken his sword art at all. Ancient Night Devil, is this what you mean by absolute strength? Jian Wushuang's mouth slightly tilted. Only with this strength, I am not qualified to subject me. Huh. The ancient Night Demon frowned. Is it bodyguard sword art? But this bodyguard sword art is so good that it can't break my palm directly? But following the ancient night devil laughed again. Haha. It seems that the devil is looking down upon you. When you just played against the master, didn't you give up all your combat power? Ancient night devil, I don't need to say any more nonsense. I really want to see how strong your combat power is. Jian Wu's eyes flashed hot, followed by his figure, and he took the initiative. Call. With the huge wings spreading out, Jian Wushuang cast the Shuangguang Phantom, and appeared directly in front of the ancient night demon king like a teleportation, and then the Huangquan Excalibur cut out. Wow. With a sword, the space was cut open relentlessly. This sword is not very powerful, but... The ancient night demon stared fiercely. Good rich Kendo universe origin. The richness of this Kendo universe origin. I see you on the first floor of eternal dark prison, among the countless second-level masters. Few are comparable. This kid, the ruler of every rule, has such a high sense of the origin of Kendo universe. Wow. 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 I saw one after another Jianguang. In any one of the sword lights contains the very rich origin of Kendo universe. The blessing of the origin of Kendo universe has greatly enhanced the sword power. The ancient night demon king waved his fist and blasted forward. The fist and Jianguang collided again and again. The power was overwhelming. This boy, the perception of the origin of the Kendo universe is too high. I am afraid that among the third-level masters, they are all very powerful. His sword skill is also extremely exquisite, even under my boxing skills. The ancient Yi Majuan was amazed, but beyond his surprise, there were more surprises. To him, the stronger the sword is, and the more upset he is, the happier he is. Because in his eyes, Jian Wushuang is already his general. 3 heads M. Chapter 3857. Sixth more. Ha! Another collision, Jian Wushuang, and the ancient night demon stature pulled apart. Haha, little guy, you are really surprised me. A ruler is so high at the origin of Kendo universe. Today, you will surely become the first warlord of this devil. Shengzhenshan, his body was full of magic, and the power of those 2 fists suddenly increased to a whole new level at this moment. Okay. Jian Wushuang frowned. Although he could just use swordsmanship to fight against the fist of the ancient night demon, he himself knew that this was the reservation of the ancient night demon. The most dominant master of the second series is purely powerful in divine power, which is much more powerful than sword warriors. Ha! Ha! After 2 fists smashed, Jian Wushuang was already struggling. It seems that I can't hold back anymore. Jian Wu's eyes were cold. Huang Quan's sword in his hand was cut straight out, and a swift sword light came. While cutting to the ancient night demon, a special force poured in among the lights. With the addition of this special force, the power of Jian Wushuang, a sword, instantly increased several times. Pung! The trembled in emptiness, and the ancient night demon king stepped back 3 steps in succession. At the same time, his right hand fist was slightly numb, and he still felt a little pain. But the ancient night devil did not pay any attention to the pain in his arm, but stared at Jian Wushuang. Just that power, that supreme power. Nothing wrong. It is the law of the universe. Absolutely the law of the universe. The Lord of the Blood Sword has even realized a trace of the law of the universe? An ancient horror flashed in the eyes of the ancient night demon. The law of the universe is supreme. Even the master, it is extremely difficult to understand a trace. Any master, as long as he comprehends a bit of the law of the universe, his strength can undergo qualitative transformation. Like him, although he is the most dominant master of the second series, the law of the universe has always been unattainable to him. As for the ruler, the universe recognizes that the ruler is able to comprehend a rule of the universe that belongs to a super genius rarely seen in billions of stars. This kind of super genius is enough to make those big forces in the vast universe madly compete for it. Countless top extremes are very eager to accept such super genius as disciples and inherit the mantle. Anyway, this ancient night devil is also the second highest standing, and he himself comes from the depths of the universe, and there are many geniuses he has seen. Super genius, but he has never seen it before. Master of the blood sword, follow me. I guarantee that you will become the master within 100,000 years. And I am not just a solitary master. I also have a division in the depths of the universe. There are all the strong ones. And you follow me to the depths of the universe. And I let the supreme strong person of my division personally come forward to accept you as an apprentice," said the ancient night demon prince. He now does not want Jian Wushuang to be his sire. This level of super genius is not what he controls at all, but his division can. He couldn't wait to return to the teacher's gate with Sword Wushuang now. "Sure men." Jian Wushuang's expression moved without questioning. There may be a division behind this ancient night demon king, but the division door must not be strong. Otherwise, how could this ancient night demon king be held in the eternal dark prison for so many years? Don't care about the division behind this ancient night demon king. Ancient demon lord, am not interested in you or your division. Now you think about how you won't be defeated by me." Jian Wushuang's voice was cold, and Huang Quanshan's sword turned into a bend in his hand. Haoyue, when the air strikes came out, there was a trace of the law of the universe in Jianguang, which instantly caused Jianguang's power to skyrocket. At the same time, the mighty realm of magic light and the realm of mysterious light are fused together, directly oppressing the ancient night demon monarch. The combination of the two fields, even the most dominant master of the second level, such as the ancient night devil, has also been greatly affected in this field. The ancient night demon prince immediately fought with Jian Wushuang, but after just a few times of confrontation, the ancient night devil found himself in a slight disadvantage. The Lord of the Blood Sword has a superb understanding of the origin of the Kendo universe. He also has a trace of the laws of the universe. Sword skill is also extremely good. Although his divine power is much weaker than mine, he can rely on the wonders of the laws of the universe. The surrounding area is actually faintly overwhelming me? Guillermo Jun couldn't help but marvel. He has heard rumors long ago that after a practitioner has realized a glimpse of the laws of the universe, his strength will soar many times. Now it seems that this is the case. When Jian Wushuang did not use the laws of the universe, his combat power was barely dominated by the second level. But now using the laws of the universe, that combat power is definitely the peak of the second level. Haha, Lord of the Blood Sword, you are very good. In this case, the demon is no longer hiding it. The laughter of the ancient night demon echoed. Even if he saw him slap, there was a black glove on each of the two palms, and the black glove exuded a very strong sense of destruction. It was an extremely powerful treasure. This ancient night demon king finally came out to attack Arca. Jian Wu's eyes narrowed slightly. From the beginning of the battle to the present, he has long noticed that the ancient night demon has always been fighting with himself empty-handed. His two fists were extremely stiff, and they were absolutely comparable to ordinary treasures. He repeatedly collided with his own Huangquan Excalibur without any damage. However, after incorporating the laws of the universe into his swordplay, he couldn't carry it anymore. And now the ancient night demon king finally took out his strongest treasure soldier. The prisoners in the eternal dark prison are indeed so good. They can just come up with one. And they are so arrogant. I used many methods and the laws of the universe to force my attack to Bora. Jian Wushuang secretly sighed. The battle with this ancient night demon king made Jian Wushuang more interested in the many prisoners in the eternal dark prison. He has decided that when this time is over he will set off to practice in the eternal dark prison. Of course, the ancient night demon king in front of him is still unsolved. Master of the Blood Sword, watch the fist. The ancient night devil's eyes flashed a strong light, and the entire person was completely transformed into a wild beast. I saw the overwhelming violent breath coming, and the ancient night demon slain directly before the sword had no double-sidedness, and his strength no longer had any reservation, and at this moment completely poured out. Chapter 3858. The first is more. So strong. I saw the ancient night demon turned into a fierce beast, and two fists blasted frantically. The boxing method was arrogant and overbearing. Each of the most important fists contained incredible power. Jian Wushuang and the ancient night demon's fist, each the collision only felt a heavy mountain oppressing him. In less than a moment of fighting, Jian Wushuang was completely crushed ruthlessly. He even felt the pain in his palm, and couldn't hold the Huangquan Excalibur in his hand. In terms of strength, the gap is too big. Jian Wushuang sighed. After all, it is the most dominant master in the second level. The divine power alone is much stronger than Jian Wushuang. This ancient night demon is not vain, but he directly presses people. Jian Wushuang is difficult to resist. Suddenly, Jian Wushuang pulled away abruptly, and pulled away from the ancient night demon king again. The ancient night demon monarch was so powerful that he did not immediately catch up. Why? Know that you can't beat it, and want to stop it, laughed the ancient night demon. The ancient night devil. It really deserves to have escaped from that place. And the strength is really great. Jian Wushuang said. He said very easily, and those who watched the battle next to him, such as the empty master and the monarch ruled them, did not know what Jian Wushuang said. Only the ancient night demon king, in the same words, his eyes and pupils shrank sharply. Escaped from that place? This boy? Do you know where I come from, and know that the eternal dark prison can't be achieved? The ancient night demon frowned. Ancient night devil, to be honest, this time I came, I was quite looking forward to your strength. And now it seems that you did not let me down. You are very strong. Better than anyone I have ever dealt with. They are much stronger. And you are also qualified to let me use Wu Wei. Jian Wushuangdo. Wu Wei. What is it? The ancient night demon is unknown. Sword Wushuang took the Huangquan Excalibur in his hand, and took the scabbard on the back, followed by a slap. And a black Excalibur exudes gloom in his hand. This black Excalibur gradually floated there. At first glance, there was nothing strange, but the ancient night devil came from the depths of the universe, and was held in the eternal dark prison for so many years. His vision is naturally not low. At the moment of the black Excalibur, his pupils narrowed sharply. This black Excalibur seems calm, but under the surface calm, there is an unprecedented coldness and darkness. The most important thing is that this black Excalibur has an incredible power. This extremity seems to be able to tear apart everything in the world, not only the ancient night devil, but everyone around it, staring at the black Excalibur. At that moment, the sharpness in the black divine sword seemed to tear their souls in half. Heartbreaking and frightening. What is this treasure? A horror flashed in the eyes of the ancient night demon. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly. He held the Wu Cry Excalibur with one hand, and rushed forward with a divine power. Wow! A dim shadow of the sword rushed out, like a cloud of mist, directly covering the void in front of him. In the mist, there was an unprecedented cold light flashing. The strongest sword attack created by Jian Wushuang Misty. Humph! The ancient night demon snorted, and his fist turned into a roaring dragon, which burst out. Everywhere you go, space collapses. In a blink of an eye, the shocking sword light contained in the mist collided with the fist of the ancient night demon. Pung! Only one loud noise was heard, and the huge ancient night demon palace shook violently under this impact. At the very center of the two, the ancient night devil's face changed suddenly, and a horror appeared in his eyes. Following his figure, he stepped back one after another. Each step was heavy and powerful, breaking the void. After standing firmly, the ancient night demon prince immediately looked at his right hand. The black gloves on his right hand originally exuded an extremely thick gloom, but at this moment the gloom was much dimmer than before. My strongest treasure soldier, did I get some damage? How could this be? The magical face of the ancient night devil is incredible. You know, this pair of black gloves was obtained by him when he fought with people in eternal dark prison, and spent a lot of money on a second-ranked strongest man. Extremely. The theory level is among the strongest treasures, and it must also belong to the necessary. This glove is his strongest attacking soldier. But is such an attack on the magic soldier, now in the collision with the sword unparalleled swordsmanship, only a single collision, his gloves are slightly damaged? The Excalibur in your hand. The ancient night demon relooked at the black divine sword in the swordless hands. and his expression was constantly changing. From the start he was shocked, and finally turned into ecstasy. The rule is precious. Yes, that Excalibur must be the rule of noble. Otherwise, how could a single collision cause some damage to my strongest Excalibur-esque gloves? And the Blood Sword Lord's sword power can be improved all at once. With so much, this must be the credit of that rule of treasure. The ancient Knight Devil is really excited. He never expected that the Lord of the Blood Sword in front of him would not only be a legendary billionaire astral super genius, but the latter also had the rule of treasure in his hands. The rule is precious, let alone the master of a second series. Even if it is the third series, or even most of the fourth series, there is no such treasure. Such a treasure is enough to make any master below the 5th level crazy. He is an ancient Knight Devil, and he is naturally crazy. Kill! The eyes of the ancient Knight Demon King flashed unprecedented fierceness, and the whole person turned into a fierce beast, and flew towards the sword unparalleled again. And this time, the pervasive power on him is obviously stronger than just now. Jian Wushuang is also not afraid. Wu crying Excalibur is in his hand, but he himself has realized a bit of the law of the universe. With this piece of cosmic law, he can barely use a small part of the power of Wu cry Excalibur, and this small part of power can greatly improve the overall strength of the sword. This is also one of the spirits of Jian Wushuang, who dared to face the ancient Knight Demon King before. After coming out of the dim demonic realm, he realized a bit of the law of the universe, his strength sword, and then obtained the Wu Weeping Sword, which made his combat power soar to a whole new level. Because of this, he dared to say that it was enough to fight the ancient Knight Demon King. And the outcome was unpredictable. Now the power of this magic sword Wu Wei is gradually revealed in the sword without hands. Chapter 3859. Second More. Outside the ancient Knight Magic Palace, a large number of people gathered. These are the strong men under the ancient Knight Magic Palace, of which only a few dominate, but the Rule Master has a lot. At this moment, they were staring at the battle in the void ahead. The two sides of that battle were truly the ancient Knight Devil, that they had determined to be invincible in this star field, and the other was the Lord of the Blood Sword. At the beginning they thought that there was no suspense in this battle. It was considered that the Lord of the Blood Sword was able to make a move in the hands of the ancient Knight Demon King. But what happened? The two of them have been fighting fiercely until now, and it has been a while, but they haven't decided the winner yet? What is this concept? Devil and he have all come up with their strongest attacking soldiers, but they still can't win the Lord of the Blood Sword. Not only was he unable to win it, the Demon King was at war with the Lord of the Blood Sword, but he couldn't take the slightest advantage. But he was suffering from the sword art of the Lord of the Blood Sword everywhere. The Lord of the Blood Sword, isn't it just the Lord of the Rules? And he said before that his combat power barely reached the threshold of top masters? Can you see this scene? Where is the threshold of top masters? How much do adults have to be weak? These ancient Knight Demon Kings are shocked at this moment. They didn't know Jian Wushuang's strength before, thinking that Jian Wushuang's strength still stayed at the time when the Red Cloud Realm was opened. At that time, Jian Wushuang was at best comparable to the top master. But the average top master, in the ancient Knight Demon King said, it is almost the same as the ants. The ancient Knight Demon King can kill the so-called top masters with one move. Like the Beihai Palace's Tianping master, it is killed by the ancient Knight Demon King with one stroke. At that time, the ancient Knight Demon King did not even use his strongest treasure soldier. But now the strongest treasure soldiers are also used. The ancient Knight Demon Prince obviously does not retain any strength, but the Master of the Blood Sword can still compete with the ancient Knight Demon Lord. Even relying on swordsmanship, he occupies some advantages. This is scary. No wonder. It's no wonder that the Lord of the Blood Sword can come out alive from the darkened demon realm. So powerful. Even if you enter the deepest part of the darkened demon realm, I am afraid that you may not encounter much danger. Before, I thought Lord Demon King was absolutely invincible in this star field. But now it seems that someone can still compete with it. And the only thing Lord King can counter, it is probably the Lord of the Blood Sword. The Lord of the Blood Sword, the ruler of every rule, can even fight like this with Lord Majuan. Great. Can't help but wonder. There is no way. It is the combat power revealed by Jian Wushuang, which should not be possessed by a ruler at all. It's too much against the sky. In the battlefield, the ancient Night Demon King was shocked by the appointment. He really has now revealed his strongest strength, and the power has burst to the extreme. However, the sword in front of him is based on a part of the power of the magical sword Wu Wu Xinjian. Many mysteries are performed at the same time. The power will not be worse than him, and Jian Wushuang's sword skill is extremely high, and his perception of kendo is much higher than his perception of boxing. His only advantage should be spent in eternal dark prison for too long, and his experience in killing is extremely rich. But despite this, Jian Wushuang can rely on swordsmanship, but he can still compete with him, even with some advantages. The most important thing is that there is another hidden danger in the ancient Night Demon King, which is the huge gap between the magical soldiers and the treasure. The rule is precious. The power is too strong. Although my gloves are the best of the strongest ones, the ratio is still far from the rule. I fight the Lord of the Blood Sword, and my fist is against him. The rule of the Supreme Treasure Sword also expands again and again. Every time I collide, my strongest treasure boxer will be slightly damaged. To this day, my strongest treasure boxer has been damaged a lot. I'm afraid these gloves are broken. Ancient Night Devil frowned. But just then, an incomparable breath came from the void above. The ancient Night Demon King immediately looked up and looked away. But at this look, he found a majestic and monumental stone monument, magnificently enlarged in his pupils. The surface of the steel is also surrounded by countless secret patterns. These secret patterns are extremely complicated, and this towering steel was crushed directly towards him in time. The rule of treasure is another rule of treasure. The ancient Night Demon screamed inside. The rule of treasure. He spent so many years in the first floor of eternal hell, and also met countless prisoners, but from the hands of these prisoners have never seen a rule of treasure. But now, he is from the eternal escaped and came to the star field at the edge of the universe. As a result, in such a remote star field, he not only saw the rule of treasure, but also saw two things at one time, both from the same person. This second rule is a treasure, of course. It is a town monument. When Jian Wushuang returned to the chaotic world of ancient times, he took the town's steel refinery and collected it. After comprehending a bit of the law of the universe, he has been able to master this town monument, but because of the particularity of the town monument, its true power is worse than the normal repressive class arcana, but it is also powerful enough already. At this moment, the town of Tianbei was oppressed oppressively, and the ancient Night Demon Prince also mentioned the sword threat of sword unparalleled in the front, so he could not resist the oppression of that town of steel. Boom! The huge town monument fell directly on the ancient night monster. The terrible power instantly dropped the ancient night devil into the ground below, and severely fell on the earth star, so that a deep invisible pit appeared on the earth's ground. Many powerful men of the ancient night demon looked at this scene in horror. They saw the invincible devil in their hearts, and they were directly manipulated by a stone steel to the ground. Suddenly, a figure has risen to the sky again. It is the ancient night devil. But the ancient night devil at the moment is slightly pale, and looks a little bit embarrassed. Awesome, there are two rules to the treasure. The ancient night demon stared at the sword unparalleled. You are also terrific. You were hit by the front of my town's monument, and you didn't receive it much. It seems that you not only have your own deity, but even the top armor of the body. It is also very good. Jian Wushuang also said. The ancient night demon snorted, but his heart began to figure out. The Lord of the Blood Sword has great strength, and there are two rules of treasure in hand. I am not a rival, I am now his opponent. Now I think it's almost impossible to capture him. In this case, he can only use the last trick to kill him directly. 3 heads M. Chapter 3860. Third more. Ancient Knight Demon King wanted to have a sword capture. After all, Jian Wushuang is a real super genius, and there is not necessarily a single one in the billions of stars. Such a super genius is of immense value. If he can receive His Majesty, he can get incredible benefits. But with the strength that Jian Wushuang is showing now, he wants to capture it, which is simply a lunatic dream. In this case, he can only step back and kill Jian Wushuang. He knew that in such a remote star field, the Lord of Swords in one rule could have such combat power. It must have been an incredible opportunity, like the two rules of his treasure, which fully explain this point. So even if Jian Wushuang could not be earned, as long as he killed Jian Wushuang and got his two rules, he was searching for Jian Wushuang's Qingquan ring, and he believed that his gain would not be low. The Lord of the Blood Sword, you can drive me to this step, you are really good, but it's also over. The ancient knight demon stared coldly. Next I will show my strongest hole card. This move, even though I have been in that place for a long time, I have only performed it 10 times. You can be proud of this trick. As soon as the ancient knight devil's voice fell, a lot of black gloom began to condense on his body. Are there any hole cards? Jian Wu's eyes and pupils shrank, and he couldn't help but admire him. This ancient knight devil can always survive an eternal dark prison, and the method is really extraordinary. Until now there are still no cards. And the ancient knight demon king has been fighting with him for so long, and he also knows his strength, but still dare to say that this trick has the opportunity to kill himself. Then obviously your power is extraordinary. Drink. The ancient knight demon lord drank violently, and the breath on his body was suddenly abruptly weakened at this moment, and a hot spit of blood was also sprayed from his mouth. It's a special mystery, and the cost of his mystery is definitely not small. The sword has no two-sided dignity. When he noticed that the breath of the ancient knight devil was weakened a lot, he realized that this trick is not trivial. Boom! The ancient knight demon king shot. I saw a lot of dark light condensing at a horrible speed, and in the blink of an eye formed an ancient black giant finger. This black giant finger, carrying the earth-shaking power of extinction, came directly to the sword without fingers. This trick. Jian Wu's eyes narrowed, and he could feel the terrifying power of this trick. If it is said that the ancient knight demon under full force broke out, its combat power is already the most extreme of the second level. Then this finger that he costs at a great cost now has absolutely exceeded the second level, and reached the level of the third series. And the higher level dominates the level. Oh, this trick, but the secret technique from my own division, was created by the Supreme Hand. The power is extremely powerful. I spent 40% of my divine power, and some blood at one time, before I could barely show this trick. I don't believe he can resist it. The ancient knight demon king's eyes were cold. However, under his gaze, Jian Wushuang's body suddenly erupted into a towering divine power. Boom! The divine power is frantically crisscrossing, and the next moment is directly burning at a horrible speed. Dragon extermination, magic power burns. As soon as this divine power was burned, the sword's divine power increased by 100-fold in an instant, and under the amplitude of various mystic skills, his power at this moment has completely reached a completely new level. Guardian of the Earth, Sword Wuxian swiftly exhaled the Excalibur in his hand. Driven by the laws of the universe, Wu Chang's Excalibur also exhibited decent power. In a moment, a major area of sword condensed in front of Sword Wushuang. It took 40 hours to form a full 40. 3 major ground sword areas. Yes, 43. This is after Jian Wushuang came out of the dim demon realm, and spent thousands of years in the Red Cloud realm. In those thousands of years, he used the opportunity in the Red Cloud realm to improve his strength again, not only on the laws of the universe, but also on kendo. In swordplay, he now has a higher sense of the origin of the kendo universe. Among the third-level masters, he has reached the extreme, with such a sense of the origin of the kendo universe. Fully exerting the trick of guarding the earth, can instantly condense the 43 major sword areas. These 43 major sword areas are stronger than stronger. Boom! The old black giant finger slowly extended, and finally bombarded the land of the sword on the surface of the swordless body. The instant power broke out. 43 major sword domains, and its 30 heavy sword domains, were like transparent window paper. They were directly broken by the black giant finger, followed by the black giant finger. 1132. The first 39 was defeated in the blink of an eye, but by the time of the 40th épée, the speed of the black giant finger was obviously slower. In the 41st épée domain, the black giant finger paused for a long time before barely breaking. As for the 42nd weight, the black giant finger failed to defeat the 42nd sword area and dissipate. The black giant finger most stopped at the 42nd level. I used the technique of dragon extermination and the strongest defense sword and earth guard under the premise of a surge in divine power. But I was also defeated by the 41 heavy sword domain. The power of this finger is really real. Sword Wuxia could not help but admire. Jian Wuxia was just admiration, but the ancient night devil was horrified, even terrified. How can it be? I spent great divine power, and even sacrificed some of the strongest means of casting blood. Even if it is the general third-level elementary master in the eternal dark prison, it is estimated that it will be badly hit by this move. Every ruler of the rule, not only I completely blocked this move, and still rely on the perfect protection of body swords. I didn't even break his body swords with this trick? How could he be so strong? The ancient night demon trembled physically and mentally, but Jian Wuxuang's cold eyes had already looked at the ancient night demon king. Ancient night demon king, your strongest means have already been performed, so you can borrow me another sword. Jian Wuxuang slowly raised the Wu-crying Excalibur in a frantic flame, and waved wildly. The next moment a horrible, hazy sword shadow was cut out directly. The strongest swordplay hazy. The same sword can be used to perform the sword unparalleled operation after the dragon annihilation. The power of this sword is much more powerful than before. Not good. The ancient night demon king's face changed greatly, and he could see at a glance that the sword might be extremely powerful. At least it had reached the threshold of the third level. Even if he did not dare to pick it easily in his heyday, let alone his at present, the divine power and blood are greatly damaged, and the combat power is at most only 60% of the heyday. 60% strength, how dare to take this sword? Emperor Jiutian. Chapter 3861. Fourth is here. Escape. The ancient night devil does not hesitate. I saw that his body shape suddenly changed from 1 to hundreds, and this figure fled from all directions. Although the mist formed by Jian Wuxuang's hazy sword technique enveloped the past for the first time, it only covered part of the body. The covered figures were all annihilated by Jian Guang, but it is clear that the deity of the ancient night demon is not among these figures. Wow! The shape of the sky suddenly dissipated, and the figure of the ancient night demon monarch had appeared in the void far away from the sword unparalleled. Obviously the strength is damaged, but there is still such a powerful life-saving technique that can be cast from the eternal dark prison. Even if it is seriously injured, I can't kill him. Sword Wuxuang retracted the two-handle rule arcane, also stopped the burning of divine power in the body. The ancient night demon king at this moment stared at Jian Wuxuang with a solemn look. As for those strong men who watched the ancient night magic palace, they were silent. The battle in front of them was in their eyes from start to finish, and of course they saw it at the end. Ancient night demon king showed his strongest whole card, but he failed to break even the sword unparalleled body sword skill. The last sword of Jian Wuxuang, but the scared ancient night demon monarch fled, and did not dare to compete with it. Obviously in this battle, the sword is unparalleled. On strength, Jian Wuxuang is still above this ancient night demon king. From today on, the strongest in this star field is estimated to be replaced by the Lord of the Blood Sword. The Emperor sighed inwardly. Me. I even ran to the Star Palace to let go of the word, and even the Lord of the Blood Sword was actually attracted by me. The ruler of that monarch was terrified. Previously, the ancient night demon king supported him. He didn't care about Xingong at all. Even if he knew that Jian Wuxuang was stronger than him, he didn't care. But now he knew that the strength of the Lord of the Blood Swords was even more terrible than the demon behind him, which made him truly frightened. He can imagine that if Jian Wushuang is going to kill him, the ancient night devil may not stop it. And even if it is to stop it, it is probably impossible to stop it. Master of the Blood Sword, you won this battle. The ancient night demon king finally spoke. He didn't say much, nor did he justify himself. Losing is losing. He spent so many years in the eternal dark prison. I do know how much there is. If he didn't even have the courage to admit defeat, he would have been killed for a long time. Ancient Night Demon King, you are really strong. Especially the last finger. Almost defeated my strongest body protection means I can beat you, but also fortunate, plus the assistance of the treasure. Jian Wushuangdo. Treasure is also a kind of strength. The ancient night demon Jun smiled. The Lord of the Blood Sword. Here is at the gate of my ancient night demon palace. Why not go with me to the demon palace? Let me talk about it in detail. How about it? Let's talk about it in detail. Jian Wushuang looked, and then nodded with a smile. Since the ancient night demon king invited me, then I'm welcome. Please ask the demon to lead the way. Haha, come with me. The laughter of the ancient night devil is extremely happy. Just now, Gu Yejuan is still thinking about playing his strongest hole card to kill sword warriors. But now he blinks and invites sword warriors to enter the magic palace to discuss in detail, and sword warriors also directly agreed. This is also normal. After all, Jian Wushuang had no major resentment against this ancient night demon prince. And before the rule of the king, and the prince went to the Star Palace, there was some friction. But this friction is not really hatred. The ancient night demon king wanted to kill Jian Wushuang, because Jian Wushuang was pregnant with treasure. He longed for it, but since he couldn't kill him, he naturally didn't want to be at odds with Jian Wushuang. After all, Jian Wushuang's strength now eclipsed him. The most terrible thing about Wushuang is his potential. The master level of the rule is so strong. Who knows how strong he will be when he breaks through and become the master. As for Jian Wushuang, he can't kill the ancient night demon, but he also needs to know some things in the eternal dark prison from the ancient night demon. And of course he won't choose to be evil with the ancient night demon. Both knew that the other was strong, and could not be the enemy. In the magnificent magic palace, the ancient night devil did not choose to sit on the towering throne above, but sat in front of the case with the sword without a double face, which is also a respect for the strength of the sword without a sword, and put the sword without a sword completely on an equal footing with yourself. On the case there is fine wine. The Lord of the Blood Sword. This is the wine I collected from the treasure house of the Beihai Palace, after I overthrew the Beihai Palace. This wine is of great help to the practitioners who dominate the following. The most important thing is that it tastes good. Do you want to taste it? Taste, said the ancient night demon king. Jian Wushuang glanced at the fine wine, but shook his head. No, I don't want to hide it. I came here this time to find you, the ancient night demon king. Oh, the ancient night devil frowned. You came for the Star Palace thing? This is one of them. Jian Wushuang nodded. This is something I have done too much in, and I will give you the Lord of the Blood Sword. The ancient night demon voiced solemnly, followed his eyes and glanced to the side. Magic monarch. The monarch dominated, and immediately fell to his knees. The Lord of the Blood Sword. This matter arises because of this monarch. He saw the special treasure of the Star Palace, the Triple Path, so he asked for it in the name of my ancient night magic palace. After the Lord of the Star Palace defeated, I told the treasure to me when I came back, and told me that I was bitter. I am the Lord of the ancient night magic palace. In order to maintain the face, I was told that the Lord of the Palace would send the treasure to him. Come up. Ancient Night Demon King said. I can understand. Jian Wushuang nodded. He could see that the ancient night devil did not lie, and there was no need to lie. In this case of the ancient night demon palace, and the Xing Palace, the monarch and the king dominated a large part. Now Junyi is here. What do you do with the Lord of the Blood Sword? Novel. It doesn't matter if you kill him directly. The ancient night demon took a drink from the case. Feel free to say, he said easily. But the monarch who was kneeling beside him was terrified. "Devil, forgive me, forgive me." The ruler of the monarch kept asking for mercy, but the ancient night demon prince did not look at him. To the ancient night demon monarch, this monarch is the master of the First Order. As far as the master of the First Order is concerned, such a master is a lot in the universe, he doesn't care. However, Jian Wushuang is different. This is an incredible super genius with unlimited potential in the future. What he has to do now is to pull as much as possible with Jian Wushuang. But he will not fight against Jian Wushuang for the sake of a prince. Chapter 3862. Fifth More. Kill it. Jian Wushuangro watched with interest, kneeling beside him, the monarch who was begging for mercy. This monarch dominates the mighty masters, and he is definitely a top-level existence in this star field. Once there was no sword double-sided to such an existence, he had to look up. But now he is kneeling in front of himself. Can decide its life and death. It's nothing, I'm too lazy to kill you, but you have to go to my star house. As for what to do, you should consider it yourself. Jian Wushuang rode. He said to Terra now that killing a high master has no sense of accomplishment. Thank you very much for the Lord of the Blood Sword, spare your life. The ancient night demon lord said coldly. Thank you for the Lord of the Blood Sword. Thank you for the Lord of the Blood Sword. The monarch ruler was relieved. I immediately set off and went to the Star Palace to pay for my sins. Jian Wushuang just waved his hands arbitrarily, followed by looking at the ancient night demon solemnly. Ancient night demon, when I come this time, there is actually another more important thing. Jian Wushuang lowered his voice, and the ancient night demon became aware, and immediately commanded, "You all go down." Yes. The empty host and others who escorted aside immediately bowed and left. In the entire Great Hall, there are only Jian Wushuang and the ancient night demon king. The latter also directly imposed a heavy prohibition to prevent someone from hearing the dialogue between the two. Master of the Blood Sword, you can speak now. The ancient night demon lord looked over. The ancient night devil. I didn't meander, I just said, I'm very interested in that eternal dark prison. Jian Wushuangdo. You really know the eternal dark prison? The ancient night demon looked solemnly at Jian Wushuang. In the previous battle with Jian Wushuang praised him for being out of that place. At that time, the ancient night magic king guessed whether Jian Wushuang knew his origin. Now it seems that Jian Wushuang did know. The Lord of the Blood Sword. I can ask, how do you know the eternal dark prison? And how do you know that I escaped from the eternal dark prison? The ancient night demon asked. This is very simple. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, and then turned over and took out something. Guillermo Jun, you should know this thing in my hand? What Jian Wushuang took out was a token. This is a disciple's token of Hongyan's veins, and it is also a token of the disciples of the inner door. Guillermo Jun was completely shocked. He was in the vein of Hongyan when he broke through the kingdom of God and committed a great crime, and was detained by Hongyan in an eternal dark prison. After that, he stayed in the vein of Hongyan. He didn't know how many years. He knew the vein of Hongyan naturally, and knew the power of the vein of Hongyan. Like the division behind him, in fact it was not a weak side. There are several supreme people sitting in the town, but his teacher did not dare to offend Hongyan, knowing that he was being held in the eternal dark prison, and pretended not to see it. I can imagine that the red cloud is strong. However, the people of the red cloud have not appeared in the eternal dark prison for a long time. For these dozens or even hundreds of chaotic times, no new prisoners have been held in the eternal dark prison. Therefore, the eternal dark prison has been circulating. It is said that the pulse of Hongyan has been completely destroyed. And after escaping from the eternal dark prison, this ancient night demon is affirming the fact that the vein of Hongyan has been destroyed, for which he is extremely happy. But whoever thought of this blink of an eye, he met the disciple of Hongyan. No, you are just the master of the rules, and it looks like you haven't cultivated for a long time, and Hongyan's pulse has long been destroyed. I don't know how many years. You must not be a disciple of Hongyan's Pulse in the peak period. If I guess you should have been in the Hongyan Imai Divine Kingdom site for a while. And you got the opportunity left by Hongyan Imai before you became a disciple of Hongyan Imai? Asked the ancient night demon. Yes, I have been a disciple of Hongyan Imai for a long time. So you do have to worry. I will hate you because of Hongyan Imai. And I will detain you again in the eternal dark prison. Not to mention this. No idea, no ability. Jian Wushuang smiled. Well, since you have just become a disciple of Hongyan, that is not my enemy. The ancient night demon nodded secretly. He was imprisoned in the eternal dark prison for so long tortured by Yunyan. And after suffering torture, he managed to escape by now. If he does not resent Hongyan's pulse in his heart, it must be impossible. But Hongyan's pulse it is overthrown. The Red Cloud strong man, who had detained him in the eternal dark prison originally, is estimated to have died long ago. And naturally he will not be implicated in Jian Wushuang. After all, Jian Wushuang only got a chance in the near future, and then he worshipped under the gate of Hongyan. I am a disciple in the heart of Hongyan. Naturally, I know the existence of Eternal Dark Prison, and I also know that you escaped from the first floor of Eternal Dark Prison not long ago. As for my coming to you this time, mainly I want to ask you something about the Eternal Dark Prison. Jian Wushuangdo. You ask about things in Eternal Dark Prison. Do you want to go in? The ancient night devil frowned. I have this idea. Jian Wushuang smiled. There are countless strong men in the Eternal Dark Prison. Even the first level, there are countless tops of the second series. And even the strongest of the third series. So of course I want to go in and go through it. You have the tokens of the disciples in the heart of Hongyan. You can mobilize the power of the magic circle in the Eternal Dark Prison. It is an invincible existence at all. This experience, you will not be in danger. That's it. But I still want to get some information about you from the Eternal Dark Prison. In addition, although I know that the Eternal Dark Prison is hidden in the depths of Red Rock Mountain, I don't know the exact location of the entrance. You have to guide me for the ancient night devil. Jian Wushuangdo intelligence is simple. I can tell you everything I know. As for the way, it is not impossible. But I have one condition. The ancient night devil is right. Conditions. Jian Wushuang's expression moved. Tell me. I have an enemy in the first floor of the Eternal Dark Prison. It is an outrageous lunatic. I fell into his hands and was tortured by him for billions of years. It is better to die than to live. This hatred, I have never forgotten, but his strength is far superior to me. Before in the Eternal Dark Prison, I had no way to take him at all. Even if he came out of the Eternal Dark Prison one day, I am not his opponent. So I want you to take a shot and help me revenge. The ancient night demon gnashed his teeth and said lowly. End of this chapter. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.